Find a 2018 Honda Civic Type R like no Honda you've ever seen.
Here we are in Boston, Massachusetts, the opening game of a 4-game series between the Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox from historic Fenway Park, where they've seen a lot of good baseball this year. The Red Sox have the best record in the majors and are 65-29 overall. It will not be easy for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays. They'll get it started here in game 1 of the series with a lineup that looks like this. Grichuk leading off, Gurriel in the 2 spot. He's at short tonight. Justin Smoke, as you know, is very hot, homered in each of the 2 games down in Atlanta. And Kendrys Morales continues to swing the bat well, and he swung the bat well against the Red Sox this season. He is DHing and batting 5th.
And they'll take on David Price as Price makes his 3rd start of the season against the Blue Jays. And the one thing about Price, and we talked about it earlier, is his velocity is down. This will be his 19th start of the season. He's 9-6, his ERA at 4.44. They're hitting just under 250 against Price. But the home runs have been a concern for him. 2 starts ago in New York against the Yankees, he gave up 5 home runs to New York, gave up a solo shot last time out.
Randall Grichuk leads it off for the Blue Jays. And a first pitch swing and a foul back to get us underway on this nice night here in Boston. Maybe a touch on the cool side, no humidity, but we'll take it. It'll be Grichuk, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Justin Smoke here for the Blue Jays in the top of the 1st. Not only did Price give up 5 home runs 2 starts ago, as you talked about, Buck, against the Yankees, in his last start against the Royals, he hit 3 batters in the same inning. Went only 4 2/3, gave up 4 runs through 102 pitches in that effort. As the 0-2 was fouled back by Grichuk. Now, before that, he'd had a run of 8 or 9 starts where he'd been pitching really well. But right now, if you're the Red Sox, you know what you got at the top of the rotation. Chris Sale, as good as there is. They've got Rick Porcello. They've got Eduardo Rodriguez having a really good year. Right now, Price kind of feels like the number 4 starter in this rotation. And he gets Grichuk.
Took something off of that fastball at 84 miles an hour. Gets his first strikeout of the ball game. Price has been really struggling with his command, but this is a very well located changeup down and away to Grichuk for the first strikeout of the ball game. Price has been averaging almost 22 pitches per innings pitched over his last 2 starts. Well, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in the lineup tonight at shortstop, with Devin Travis at 2nd, and Aledmus Diaz is at 3rd base tonight. Jan Hervé Solarte is not in the starting lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. Jays continue to want to get a look at Gurriel at 2nd and short. I asked John Gibbons today, you know, why Diaz at 3rd, Gurriel at short, and he said no 3rd base for Gurriel this year. They just don't want to overload him. He's already adjusting to the majors. They already have him shifting between 2 positions. They don't want him playing a 3rd. As he swings and drives the ball to deep left center field. It's off the monster on the fly, and Gurriel sliding into 2nd with a double.
Well, another extra base hit surrendered by David Price, and that has been a problem for him. 9 of his previous 15 hits allowed in his last 2 starts have gone for extra bases. I thought this was a good matchup for Gurriel because Price doesn't have a slow or a big breaking ball. Everything is hard, and Gurriel likes it. The harder the better for Gurriel. He was all over Fulton Evans in his fastball last night in Atlanta, and he jumps on that fastball against Price.
Came into the game tonight hitting .321 in his last 7 starts. 9 for 28. He ups those numbers with a double here with 1 out of the 1st tonight, and that brings up the hot Justin Smoke. And Price starts him with a little changeup down and away. A swing and a miss, 0-1.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Smoke is on fastball right now. He is looking for fastball. Thought he was going to get a fastball from Price and was out in front of that changeup.
And between all the video you can get and advanced scouting, it doesn't take long for the other team to know what you've been up to, even in the last few days. Constant game of adjustments on both sides.
Yeah, and you can see Price aware of what Smoke's been doing lately. He started him off with 2 changeups. Now Smokey's got to make an adjustment now. He's behind.
Going away again. Trying to backdoor that cutter, but he missed. David Price and Justin Smoak have seen a fair bit of one another, as you would imagine. Smoak is 4 for 17 against him with a home run. The guy who has seen Price the most is Curtis Granderson. He's not in the lineup tonight, though, but Granderson's had 51 at bats in his career against Price. Those guys have been around a long time.
He's hit 4 home runs off him.
Yep.
But again, the lefty-lefty matchup, the way Granderson is playing right now at this stage of his career, it's the beginning of this game off. But he's had some good games against Price in the past.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Justin Smoak. Gurriel the lead at second. And a check swing foul off to keep the at bat alive.
I asked Smoak what he expected from Price tonight, and he said, I expect him to come inside. He's always pitched me inside with fastballs and cutters. And you can see by the StatCast where all those pitches are. Price has changed things up against Smoak tonight. Everything has been away. He has yet to challenge him inside.
Let's see what Sandy Leon is thinking. The catcher flashing the signs. Price has the one he wants. Coming in now, but first a step off by Price to look Gurriel back.
Boy, you can see how late the catcher set up to the inside, and the Red Sox are very paranoid about giving away location over pitch selection. So Leon goes through a bunch of signs, and watch how late he sets up. He will wait until Price is ready to move into his delivery.
And a swing and a miss to get him. 2 down.
Price didn't want to come inside. The previous pitch, Leon had called for an inside pitch, and Price stepped off the rubber and said, nope, I'm going to stay away. So both of his strikeouts have come on pitches away from Blue Jay hitters, and that was off the plate outside.
Second strikeout already for Price. The Red Sox pitchers struck out 18 Texas Rangers last night. Now Chris Sale did 12 of those all by himself, and then Kimbrel got 4 in an inning and a third. Boston has won 9 in a row. Their third winning streak of at least 8 games already this season as Teoscar Hernandez sends one out of play off to the right. Hernandez 2 for 7 in his career against Price, hitting .256 with 13 homers. And a really interesting 3 months or so for Teoscar Hernandez, not making the team out of spring. Coming up, getting hot right away, playing different positions initially, not now, hitting in different spots in the order. High drive, center field and deep. Bradley's going to turn, and this one's going to go straight away center field. Impressive power for Teoscar Hernandez, and it's 2-0 Blue Jays. That is a big boy home run in this ballpark.
Boy, it sure is. And anytime you see Jackie Bradley Jr. give up on a ball, you know it's deep. And that was about 10-15 rows back in center field. And David Price again struggling with the long ball. It mentioned the home runs, and again he gave up 5 against the Yankees on July 1st. Gave up a home run in Kansas City in his last start, and he's already given up a long ball here tonight. We talk about location with Price, and watch the target. It's down and away, and this is right out over the heart of the plate. He missed his spot once again, and that has hurt him. He's already given up a double and now a 2-run home run.
Number 14 on the season for Hernandez, and that's got to be one of the most impressive home runs that we've seen from him this year. What a shot that was. 2-0 Jays, top of the first. Price has now given up 14 earned runs in the first inning in his 19 starts this year. Andres Morales is the batter, and as you well know, Buck, they have been on David Price. Talk radio's been on him. The fans have been on him. When things are going well, they support him, but when things are going poorly, they've turned quickly. He's had some battles with the media. He hasn't looked happy really at times since he's come to Boston. Of course, he's locked into an enormous 7-year deal, although he's got an opt-out clause at the end of this year. This is year 3, but hard to imagine he walks away from, let's see, $127 million over the next 4 years.
Yeah, and especially the way the financial climate is now in baseball. We saw what the free agent market was like last year. But Teoscar Hernandez, boy, what a season he has had with the power. His 14th home run. He has now hit 40 extra base hits.
And Morales strikes out. So Price actually strikes out 3 in the inning, but he gives up a double to Lourdes Gurriel and an out later. A booming home run to Teoscar Hernandez to straightaway center. And it's 2-0 Jays heading to the bottom of the first. They're also the best offensive team in baseball, and they got some big names and some guys putting up some big numbers, like Mookie Betts, who is leading the majors in batting, slugging, OPS, and on a tear right now on this 9-game hitting streak. And what a free agent acquisition JD Martinez has been. All he's doing is leading the majors in home runs and RBIs.
They needed a power hitter, and he certainly fits the bill. Jay Happ, he has made 18 starts so far. As we've talked about earlier, his last 2 starts have really not gone that well. His command has been off. He's got to get back to throwing strikes. Last time out against the Yankees, he had 6 walks. And it's his first time that he has had back-to-back 6 earned run games, as he gave up 6 runs, 7 runs to the Tigers, and then 6 runs to the Yankees.
A lot of people still asking about Jay Happ as you go from town to town with the Blue Jays. People want to know what's up with him, what's his contract situation, where do you hear he might be going, is this an important start in the big picture? And obviously lots of questions and lots of discussion around Jay Happ, and you can imagine there are scouts in attendance tonight. Mookie Betts leading it off for the Red Sox. Told you about that .350 batting average. The best in baseball. He's got 22 homers. He's got 16 stolen bases. If we concede best player in baseball to Mike Trout, this guy might be number 2 right now.
Yeah. I mean, what he does all the things that Mike Trout does, and he's a good defender. He's got a strong arm and right. They don't run on him anymore, but he can cover a lot of ground in the toughest right field in baseball.
Line to center field. It carries out to Pilar, 1 down.
Well, defensively, Pilar's in center, Hernandez in left, and Grichuk in right, and Lourdes Gurriel gets another start at short. This is his 10th start at shortstop. He has committed 3 errors overall, but he has played short and second. This is his natural position. And one thing you can see from him when he plays shortstop, he's much more comfortable throwing the baseball. It's a different throw when he's from second base. He doesn't have the confidence yet to make that short arm stroke throw from second. But boy, he can fire it across the diamond from short.
Here's Andrew Benintendi, the left fielder for the Red Sox, takes outside, ball 1. Benintendi in his last 6 games, all 6 of them have been multiple hit games. He's 14 for 23 in his last 6 games. Narrowly missed out, though. He's not an all-star. He was part of that final 5 vote on the American League side. And fans sent Gene Segura of the Seattle Mariners as the last American League All-Star. Benintendi finished second in the balloting. Still could get in there if somebody gets injured or pulls out of the game or something. Here's a ground ball to the right of Devin Travis, and he'll make a good throw on first to get him 2 down. And that'll bring up JD Martinez. You know, the Red Sox didn't have a lot of power last year in the first year post David Ortiz, so they went outside Martinez to a big 5-year deal, and he's leading the majors in home runs right now with 28.
Yeah, he was a late sign, and boy, has he been exactly what the Red Sox hoped he would be. 79 ribbies, a .330 average, and he hits in the third spot, so he's going to get up to the plate every single time in the first inning, and he can do a lot of damage. He has 4 home runs and 12 RBIs against the Blue Jays this season, and he was exactly what the Red Sox were looking for.
And hits the ball with the power to all fields too, not just a pull hitter. And a guy who, by all accounts, the younger hitters have really started going to. Martinez is really a student of his craft. Works very hard in many different ways at becoming the best hitter he can become. And the younger guys are on him for information at all times. Diving attempt there by Gurriel, but it's past him into left field, a base hit for Martinez.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. A 2-out single, you keep him in the ballpark. Gurriel did his best, but it was beyond his reach. A line drive into left field.
And that brings up a familiar face. Look who it is. Steve Pearce, now wearing a Red Sox uniform. Just acquired recently, of course, by Boston. And Bucky seems to be settling in pretty nicely. Is 11 for 24, a .458 average thus far in a Red Sox uniform. And he's got big numbers on Jay Happ, too.
He gained about 15 games into the standings, and you're right, against Jay Happ. Pearce has really hit him well. 10 for 28 with 5 career home runs against the Blue Jays lefty.
Red Sox are thrilled to have him. They were looking for a bat to hit against lefties, because either they sit Mitch Moreland, a left-hand hitting first baseman, Pearce can play there, or if they sit either Benintendi or more likely Jackie Bradley Jr., they can move guys around in the outfield, and Pearce can play a corner spot. So he's got a role: first base, corner outfield, DH against lefties, which is a role obviously he's familiar with.
Yeah, Pearce has played with the Pirates, the Orioles, the Astros, second time with the Orioles, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and now Boston. This is his 12th season in the big leagues.
Beware the green light. At the knees, a strike, 3-1.
Well, Haps, we've seen this a couple of times from Jay this season. When he senses that the hitters are looking inside, he will go away, and that's what he's done in this first inning. We have seen him over the course of the last several seasons use that high fastball, especially inside the right-handed hitters. But he's on to something early. Like, he feels like the Red Sox might be looking for that ball inside. And because he hasn't had great command, he's not yet anxious to go inside. He wants to see where he's at in this first inning.
You saw him nodding at Justin Smoke. Smoke telling him he's going to play off the bag behind the runner. Martinez will be on the move with 2 down and a full count. There he goes, and the pitch is swung on its end, foul right side.
Boy, everything again down and away to Pearce. But Jay, he's so wise and so aware on the mound that, you know, he sensed early on Mookie Betts was looking inside. And then when he saw J.D. Martinez up there, he said, you know what, I'm not going to pound Pearce inside just yet. Let me see if I can work down and away. Oh, looks like Russell's coming in now.
Got in on him, but Pearce got a piece of it.
Got a little bit too much of the plate, and that allowed Pearce to put it in play and foul it off. But this is all about reading the hitters, and Jay's very good at that. When he watches batters in the batter's box, and he'll watch how they go after a pitch and make a note. He's always on that one outside, so I got to make an adjustment.
Again, the 3-2, and down and in and hit him. He drills Pearce down near the left ankle. Obviously no intent on the pitch. And Russell Martin looking on with some concern as his former teammate is having trouble getting back up.
Boy, that really got him flush. And obviously with 2 strikes, you don't expect to have to get out of the way of a pitch. And Pearce is a tough guy. That really caught him maybe on the shin. And he's reaching down to his lower leg. And you put all that weight on it, you can't get out of the way because you're thinking 2 strikes, I got to be ready to swing, and then that ball missed badly. They want it up and in. That hit him right in the shin, and you could hear it hit him. Gives you an idea how flush it hit him. That's a lot of bone there. I'm going to say he's going to leave this game. I don't think he's trying to walk it off. And I said you could hear it, and it really hit him flush, but that one's going to sting for a while.
Well, at the moment, it looks like he's going to stay in. He's convinced Alex Cora he can stay in the game. Hard to imagine him being able to run the bases.
No,
with,
he doesn't look very good. I'm not sure he's convinced himself yet he can stay in the game. And when you hear it hit, and Mitch Moreland is the other first baseman, he's aware that he might be called upon right here. But when you hear it hit so flush like that, of course, I've been down there catching a lot of times, and I can tell when a guy really gets smoked, and he got smoked.
As you can say, he's a tough guy. He's not a guy who's going to give up easily in this kind of a situation. He wants to stay in the game, but man, that got him flush.
Yeah. And you know what? Obviously, playing against his former team, he didn't want to come out of the game in the first inning. Have a listen. That hurt.
And you can see he wanted to get up right away, and he just couldn't put any weight on it initially. And he's still getting a look-see down at first base right now.
Well, the trainer's obviously very concerned about this, and you know what? I just don't know if there's any reason to allow him to continue. Alex Cora, the manager, asking the trainer, "What do you think?" Well, I think the trainer's going to say, "You know what? Let's get it checked, get an X-ray, put some ice on it." And there's the GM, Dave Dombrowski, obviously very concerned anytime any of his players are injured.
Looks like Tony La Russa. It is.
Yeah,
That's his friend Tony La Russa beside him. They were together in the White Sox organization back when Dombrowski started 40 years ago.
Yeah, he's a consultant to the Red Sox, and he is a very experienced guy, obviously. And Pierce is really trying to convince everybody he should stay in this game. He's going to.
How about that?
Took him a while to get the feeling back, but he's going to hang in there. But that one hurt.
And Justin Smoke exchanging pleasantries at first base. So the inning continues with the runners at first and second and 2 down. The Blue Jays up 2-0 here in the first inning on a Teoscar Hernandez home run. Well, the Red Sox are threatening right now as Xander Bogaerts comes up, the reigning American League Player of the Week, as if they don't have enough offense. Bogaerts is always a guy who's hit for a pretty good average, but he's really hitting with a lot more thump this year. 14 homers. You can see the 57 RBIs. His slugging percentage is up more than 100 points from his slugging last year. And not that you forget about him, but you think about Betts, and you got JD Martinez in there, and Benintendi, and Bogaerts almost blends in a little bit, but he is dangerous.
Boy, he really is dangerous, and he certainly doesn't get the credit he deserves for being a very good shortstop first and foremost, but a very productive shortstop with the bat. He got hit in the wrist a couple years ago, and I think that really robbed him of his power, but he's healthy again, he's confident again, and he's hitting in a good RBI spot.
And Happ pitching from behind again. And he gets a pitch right on the inside corner for a much needed strike.
Yeah, this is his 18th start of the season, and pitchers have peaks and valleys during the course of a season, and Jay's in one of those valleys right now because he doesn't have his good command. And we mentioned he had 6 walks in his last game. He's hit a batter here after a 2-out single to Martinez, but his command just not there early in this ball game.
Foul to back, and it's 2-2. Do you think, and it's, this has been the biggest topic around the Blue Jays the last week, Jay Happ is obviously aware of the situation, the big picture situation. Do you think it has an impact on him when he takes the mound?
No. He has been through this 3 times in his career, and he's 35 years old. He understands it's part of the game. His team is not in a pennant race, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. I think he understands it perfectly. I don't think it has anything to do with the way he's pitching lately. As dedicated and professional a player you will have on your team, that's Jay Happ. And he says, hey, I'm pitching for the Blue Jays, and I'm going to give it everything I can. And I don't think it's a concern. You know, if he does get traded, he can re-sign with the Blue Jays as a free agent.
And he has certainly left the door open to that possibility. First things first, though, he and Martin got to get on the same page here against Bogaerts, who has asked for time twice. 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-2 count. And he got him. Froze him with a fastball over the inside corner. And Happ emerges without the Red Sox scoring any runs. 2-0 at the end of 1.
David Price, the StatCast is powered by AWS. That ball was smoked to center field, 434 feet away. Came off the bat at 112 miles an hour, one of the longest home runs that Hernandez has hit. And it gives the Blue Jays an early lead that ties him for second with Smoke on the Blue Jays for the most home runs. Solarte leads with 16.
Russell Martin will lead off the second for the Blue Jays, up 2-0 here in the opening game of this 4-game set. That'll take the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, for that matter, into the All-Star break. Martin didn't like that strike call.
Of course, Martin had the pleasure of working with David Price in 2015 after Price was traded to the Blue Jays. David went 9-1 for the Blue Jays down the stretch.
And a broken bat ground ball down to third. Eduardo Nunez up with it. Retiring Martin. Rafael Devers, by the way, the young third baseman for the Red Sox, was placed on the disabled list today with inflammation in his left shoulder. They do have depth, though. Nunez can play second and third. Brock Holt can play all over the place. He's at second base now, but they're without Devers, and they continue to be without Dustin Pedroia, and it kind of feels more and more with each passing week, Buck, like Pedroia may not be able to come back this year.
Yeah, he's had that knee ligament replacement, cartilage and everything else, and he's here. We saw him during the national anthem, but he's a long way from playing baseball just yet.
Kevin Pillar, the batter for the Blue Jays, center fielder, hitting .243. Lifetime, he's a .303 hitter here at Fenway Park. Blue Jays, when you look at their overall offensive numbers, are middle of the pack in a number of different categories, including the most important one, which is runs per game. 7th out of 15 teams in the big leagues. At times, remember, they had several weeks where they didn't hit at all, and it was amazing that they didn't seem to fall lower in the overall numbers. The numbers suggest about an average offensive team in the American League right now.
And they are below average when you consider the American League East teams, because obviously the Red Sox and the Yankees are setting the pace. The Yankees have scored 210 runs against the American League East. The Red Sox have scored 209. Well, the Blue Jays have scored 124. That's the fewest against the American League East in the division. When the Blue Jays won in 15 and 16, they were first in runs scored. They were first in home runs. They had a tremendous balanced offense. In 2016, Boston scored 370 runs for the season. Toronto 341. And they were real close in home runs.
Back in the heyday of 15, especially Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson, and Price with another strikeout, his fourth already.
Well, the Red Sox had some tough news on Saturday when Christian Vasquez slid into second base in Kansas City, and he broke his pinky finger, and it required surgery. He inserted a pin, and he is scheduled to be out 6 to 8 weeks. It's a tough shot for the Red Sox. Vasquez had taken over the everyday duties behind the plate. So now that will be handled mostly by Sandy Leon, who's starting tonight behind the plate.
So really, when you think about it, without the guys intended to be their starting catcher, starting second baseman, and starting third baseman. Now, two of the injuries, Devers and Vasquez, very recent. The Pedroia much longer term. He's only played in 3 games all year. Speaking of second baseman, Devin Travis, that's a fair ball off the glove of Nunez into foul territory. And now Travis is on his way to second, and he will be thrown out to end the inning. And it looked like he said to Tim Leeper, my bad. I think he slowed down around first, then said, maybe I got a shot. Tried to accelerate and get to second. It was thrown out fairly easily.
Well, take a look at this ball. Nunez, the third baseman, gloves it, and then there's the hesitation. Just a slight hesitation proves fatal for Devin Travis. Nunez made a nice throw.
You know, when J.A. Happ has made the evolution from near journeyman to opening day starter and now big league all-star, he's gone through a number of adjustments. He feels one of the biggest ones is between the ears, but not from a mental standpoint. Matter of fact, Happ says keeping his head still and driving toward home plate in his delivery has been a big part of the success. In years past, he was arching his back and his head would move as a result, so it's hard to throw strikes when your face is moving or angled in a strange way. Combine that with the lowered arm slot, and Happ says it's a marriage where the hitters just aren't able to swing at quality strikes. Guys?
Definitely, Arash, thank you. Continues to learn himself, his mechanics, the physical aspect of pitching, the mental aspect of pitching has been very big for Happ's continued evolution as well. Even 35 years of age, been around the block a time or two. Very few major league players, position players or pitchers, just kind of rest on their laurels. As we said in a different context in the first inning, it's a constant game of adjustment. And what a pitch that was to get Brock Holt.
Yeah, he got that fastball away. So back-to-back called strike threes for Happ. He got Bogaerts to end the first and gets Brock Holt to start the second. But you're right, Happ is 35 years old. He never settles for anything. And he is really pleased about making his trip to the first All-Star game. He shared with his family, of course, and going to Washington to be recognized as an All-Star is a special tribute, especially when you play as long as Happ has.
Eduardo Nunez, the third baseman for the Red Sox tonight, is the batter. Nunez, another guy who can play multiple positions. He's got a little power, got a little speed.
Well, and he is normally a free swinger, but you can see both of those pitches well off the plate. But you can bet he's going to swing at this one. He is just one of those guys, and he goes up there and he's hacking. He's not there to walk. And he swung at it.
He's hacking.
But it's rare that you see him take 2 pitches, let alone 3 in a row.
Hot lately, as you can see, like so many of the Red Sox. During this recent great stretch, they're on. They're scoring almost 7 runs per game. You know, you try to put into perspective some of the numbers because you look out at the scoreboard and you see 65 and 29. The last time the Red Sox were 36 games over 500 was 1978, 40 years ago. The last time, if they win tonight, or if they eventually get to 37 games over 500, the last time they were 37 games over 500 was 1946. This is pretty heady stuff for a first-year manager, a guy who, to be honest, everybody thought would eventually be a manager. And he interviewed for a couple of other positions, didn't get it, but it was only a matter of time. And a broken back ground ball hit weakly towards second. Charged by Travis, got to hurry, and he makes a good play to get him. 2 down.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
2-0, the Blue Jays lead the Red Sox. Bottom of the second here in Boston. Dan Shulman to Buck Martinez and Arash Madani. Glad you're along with us. Another game tomorrow night, and day games Saturday and Sunday before the All-Star break. Here's the catcher, the switch-hitting Sandy Leon, taking down and away ball 1. Leon, as Buck mentioned, getting the lion's share of the playing time now with Christian Vasquez on the DL with a broken finger. Blake Swihart now becomes the backup catcher. A guy who was a catcher, but then they kind of made him into a utility guy. And it felt for a while like he might have been on the cusp of getting sent down or DFA'd or something because they needed some roster spots. But obviously they decided to keep him, and he's played some left first, but he's going to be a backup catcher right now, which they didn't appear to be all that confident in him doing, but now they kind of have no choice.
I am sure they are very concerned because you don't want to be limited to 2 catchers, and Alex Cora knows that they're a foul tip away from pushing Blake Swihart into action, and he hasn't caught much lately. And that catching position, you know, you see it all the time. Guys get foul tips, they get a concussion, you get a foul tip off the meat hand, you get a broken finger, you're out, just like Vasquez. And I tell you what, it's a pretty thin situation they're in right now with their catchers, especially with that Vasquez thing being 6 to 8 weeks before he's back in the lineup.
That takes him into September before they'll see him again. And Happ strikes out Leon. A very good bottom of the second. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. So the Blue Jays still lead 2-0.
20th, where there are 2 events in one night. You can join pregame for a country music showcase featuring a number of different artists. Patio opens at 4:30, weather permitting. Friday Fan Festival is presented by Bacardi. BlueJays.com for tickets. That's when the Orioles come to town. And it was yesterday, Dan, that Buck Showalter was asked, would you be surprised if Manny Machado is dealt to the Yankees? He said, no, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
And I think I would agree with that. I'd be very surprised if he came here to Boston. Don't see that happening at all, as Blake Swihart is now into the game for Steve Pearce. So obviously Pearce, who gave it a go, unable to continue after getting hit down in the left leg, left shin area by Jay Happ. And Alex Cora had to make a move, so Swihart comes in at first base. Well, the Manny Machado rumors are not going to go away until he is dealt. He is the biggest prize, you would think, at the trade deadline this year. And the Yankees, they check in on everybody. Doesn't mean they're going to get him, but they check in on everybody. And you hear other teams like the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, the Indians also maybe having an interest in Machado as Diaz strikes out, and that's 5 already for Price.
Diaz shaking his head as he chased that changeup down and away, and Price is getting his strikeouts. He has surrendered 3 hits, 2 extra base hits, and watch that ball move away from Diaz. He never picked it up. Just kind of waved at it. So first time through the order, Price has 5 strikeouts.
And back to the top of the order for Randall Grichuk, who struck out to begin the ball game.
You know, to finish up on the Machado talk about the New York Yankees, I don't think Brian Cashman is really focused on all those names we're hearing. I think he's focused on somebody else, somebody that's not been talked about. There's a lot of talk about Machado, a lot of talk about Happ, but I don't think Brian Cashman, the GM, has laid all his cards on the table just yet. I think he's shooting for a big time move, somebody he's going to have control on.
To right field, and it hangs up for Mookie Betts, 2 down. Well, without question, I think if you look at the Yankees, their biggest need would appear to be a starting pitcher. I mean, they can hit the ball like crazy. Everybody knows that, and their bullpen is super deep. So now Tanaka's come back. CeCe's having a really good year, but it's the Sonny Gray spot in the rotation that seems to be the concern. Severino's the #1. Don't you think if they're going to do anything, that what they're going to try to do is to get a starting pitcher?
Yes. They need at least 3. You need 3 in the postseason. And you can get around without having a 4th. I mean, the Astros, they're ridiculous in how deep they are in their starting staff. But if they get a 3rd top line pitcher, I think they'll be in good shape. As we look at these 2 teams, I think the Red Sox overall can beat you in different ways more than the Yankees can. The Yankees are going to pummel you to death, but you don't do that in the postseason. The Red Sox have speed. They've got Bradley, Betts, and Benintendi, who have stolen bases. They have 43 stolen bases. The 3 of them only been caught 3 times. So Alex Cora knows that plays in the postseason. It never goes away.
The Red Sox have the best stolen base percentage in baseball. The Boston Red Sox. You don't think of them as a running team, but those 3 outfielders are pretty special talents.
Those 3 outfielders, in my mind, make up the best defensive outfield in baseball.
1-2 to Gurriel, who doubled his first time up. Ground ball in between third and short, and he's got himself a hit. As soon as it got by Nunez, that was game over. And it's a base hit for Gurriel, who's 2 for 2.
Gurriel can hit, and he has got a look in his eye that just wants to hit. Nunez goes to his left, and like you said, Dan, once it's past him, it's academic. It's going to be a base hit all the way. But Gurriel had a couple of hits in last night's game in Atlanta. He's got 2 hits already tonight against Price.
So that extends the inning and gets Justin Smoak to the plate. Smoak struck out his first time up. Big hole on the right side now with the second baseman Holt practically up the middle, and Swihart at first holding on to Gurriel. One more note on the Yankees. They are trailing Cleveland tonight 2-0. How about this pitching matchup? Corey Kluber and Luis Severino. But Edwin Encarnacion has homered early off Severino, a solo shot. The Indians have another run, and they're up 2-0 in the 3rd. The Yankees are 3.5 back of the Red Sox, and that's a big gap in the division this year. The last time that either team was this far ahead of the other was in April. They've been trading places, a half game this way and that, for many weeks right now. But the Orioles actually took a couple games from the Yankees, and Boston, as we mentioned, have won 9 in a row. Boy, hard to believe a team could be 60-31 and kind of worried about the situation that they're in right now.
And both of these teams, Boston and New York, they're both worried about winning the division, because neither club, although they're probably going to both win 100 games, they don't want to play that one-game wild card game. So they are both doing whatever they can to bolster their opportunities to win the division.
Ground ball down to third. And the short way from Nunez to Holt to Forrest Gurriel. And that's all for the Jays in the top of the third. Still 2-0 here at Fenway.
Monday's home run derby, a couple of intriguing matchups. Hometown favorite Bryce Harper up against Freddie Freeman. Alex Bregman goes up against Kyle Schwarber. That's Monday on Sportsnet. And then the game Tuesday, July 17th on Sportsnet, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And Dan, I think I know who may be calling that one.
I think it's me and the guy sitting beside me.
Yep, that's going to be a blast.
We're looking forward to it.
Be in Washington for the All-Star game.
Jay Happ will be there too. Don't know if he will pitch in the game, but he will, one way or another. He is an all-star. He will be the Blue Jays representative. There's Jackie Bradley Jr., number 9 hitter in the Boston lineup. Shift on for the Blue Jays. I think the only other thing I think I know about the All-Star game is that Max Scherzer is going to throw the first pitch. So he's got to be the starter in his home park for the National League. Right? Bradley thinking about trying to bunt his way aboard with the shift on.
Jackie Bradley has the speed to bunt more than he does, and when you're hitting 200 and you pull everything on the ground and you allow the defense to play you in a shift, I think that's a crime, because he's got such great speed. If he dropped down a bunt once a week for a base hit, that would raise his batting average 50 points. And now he beats the shift.
Yeah, hits it hard enough to find a hole on the right side.
Well, this is the challenge for pitchers now. Once Bradley reaches hitting in the 9th spot, he just hits it past the shift into right field. Gurriel couldn't make the play. He sneaks it through there. Bradley is 10 for 10 in stolen bases, and the next 2 batters, Mookie Betts and Andrew Benintendi, they all run. We mentioned they have combined for 43 steals. They've only been caught 3 times. So a team that never steals bases in the past, they've got 3 guys that can pick your pocket.
A little bit of a delay. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., his belt snapped, I believe, when he dove for that ball, and he had to go over to the dugout and get a new belt. and ready to go. So speed at first in Bradley, and Happ and Martin will have to concentrate on both that and, of course, one of the game's most dangerous hitters at the plate in Mookie Betts. Runner goes. Pitch taken for a strike. Throw down is not in time. And Bradley wasn't wasting any time getting down to second.
Yeah, it's such a big part of their game. Russell Martin has not had a good season throwing out base runners. He's caught just 8 of 54 now. And he went on first move. As soon as J. Happ picked up that front leg, Jackie Bradley Jr. was off and running. He gets a good jump, and the catcher can see him all the way. Russell's throw is just a bit to the shortstop side of second. Jackie Bradley is 11 for 11 now.
Swing and a miss. Big cut there by Betts, and it's 0-2.
Dan, you know over the last 10 or 12 years how the stolen base has been de-emphasized. But when you look at the Blue Jays now with Bradley at second base, they have to guard against him stealing third, so that takes the defense out of their normal alignment. Gurriel is moving back. He's got his eye on the base runner, and you might open up a big hole for Betts on the left side.
Weakly hit towards short. And what arm strength there by Gurriel to get Betts in a close play. Man, some things you just can't teach. That ball was fired over there.
Yeah, he is a very good shortstop. And there's been a lot of talk about whether or not he's a utility player. I think he's an everyday player. You just have to decide where you want to play him, shortstop or second base. But that's a heck of a throw to get out one of the fastest runners in baseball. Mookie Betts busting it out of the box. Gurriel fires across his body in plenty of time. He got a lot on that throw. But Gurriel can flat out play shortstop.
What a difference it is. Runner with third, one out instead of first and third, nobody out. And the batter was Andrew Benintendi. Grounded out his first time up. Infield is back for the Blue Jays. They will concede a run on a ground ball here early in the game.
The reason you do that here with Benintendi, he's such a great hitter. You're already up by 2. You don't want to bring the infield in and run the chances of having a big inning early in this game. You'll take it out and trade it for a run here at Fenway.
Slashed foul, and it's 0-2.
After the first inning, J. Happ has been able to make better pitches, better quality pitches, and his aim was off a little bit in the first inning. Gave up a 2-out base hit, then he hit Steve Pearce, but now second and third inning he's got that better fastball command.
See, Martin wanted that fastball up. It was more out than up, and Benintendi wouldn't chase, and you always got to be concerned about who's on deck here because it's J.D. Martinez. That's why a strikeout would be so big here for Happ. Then if you want, you can pitch around Martinez, because remember, Pearce is out of the game now. Swihart is in that spot, and he got him. Throw down to first to complete the out. 2 down. Big strikeout for Happ.
Well, you set it up perfectly, Dan, because that strikeout is so important, and it's a big sweeping breaking ball. Russell's set up down and away. Benintendi just waves at it. He was flat out overmatched. The ball's in the dirt, so Martin's got to go to first. So now here comes Pete Walker, and this is exactly what Walker's going to talk about here with Jay. It's an important part of the inning, although it's early in the inning. He's going to say, okay, we got J.D. Martinez up here, and I'm going to leave it up to you two guys. You decide what you want to do, but we certainly don't want to pitch to this guy in this situation because Pearce is out of the game, and we got Blake Swihart, who's a switch hitter, but certainly not swinging the bat the way Pearce was. But you certainly don't want to leave anything to doubt, so Pete Walker spent a mound visit and said, hey, we know J.D. Martinez and what he's doing. But it looks like they're going to give Happ the opportunity to pitch very carefully and conservatively to J.D. Martinez.
Bit of a dangerous gamble here, given the kind of season this guy's had.
The Blue Jays, all their analytical information suggests that there are a lot of outs up in the strike zone. And they believe that even great hitters like J.D. Martinez, they've got holes up in that strike zone because everybody is thinking about launch angle and hitting the ball in the air. And Jay Happ matches up perfectly to that. He can throw that high fastball.
High fastball for a strike, 1-1.
And once you get a called strike up there, the fastball a little bit higher plays. We saw that against Mike Trout out in Anaheim.
For what it's worth, the Blue Jays have issued only 7 intentional walks this year. That is significantly below average in the American League. Wow, right at the top end of the zone again. It's 1-2.
Had a great chat with Pete Walker about the four-seam fastball. The Blue Jays are really trying to emphasize the four-seam fastball because of the way the hitters are thinking about hitting the ball in the air. Marco Estrada and Jay Happ, I mean, they are champions of that four-seam fastball.
Yeah, it used to be pitch down with your two-seamer, get ground balls. Now it's get a swing and a miss up in the zone. Got a swing and a miss up and out of the zone. They pitch to Martinez and it works out. Jay Happ strikes him out. He's got 5 through 3 scoreless innings as the strategy pays off for the Blue Jays. Martinez strikes out, still 2-0 Toronto.
Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ2620 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Dan?
Arash, thank you. A nice sampling of Blue Jays fans here at Fenway Park in Boston, heading into a weekend series and always a popular spot to come see a ball game. Bucket list kind of ballpark, of course. Teoscar Hernandez will probably never forget the home run that he hit earlier tonight to straightaway center field. 434 feet off David Price, and that's accounted for all the offense in the game so far. Teoscar's been very successful in 9 career games here at Fenway, and you see it right there, 5 homers, about 14 RBIs as well. Backpedaling just a bit, Mookie Betts, 1 down.
Mookie Betts has become such a good outfielder, you forget that he started his career as a second baseman. He's become one of the premier defenders in the outfield, playing in the toughest right field in baseball. It's deep, it's big, there are plenty of odd bounces out there, but he plays it as well as anybody.
Yeah, the monster gets all the hype in left field, but ask anybody who's played both and they'll tell you that really right field is the tougher part to play here at Fenway. Kendrys Morales, the batter, he struck out in the first inning.
You can see all the spacious area to cover for Mookie Betts, and then that pesky pull down the right field line. Balls really bounce around down there.
Price on to first. Morales retired 2 down. And Price starting to settle in right now.
Yeah, and both starters, they were a little shaky in the first inning, but that's not unusual. We always used to talk about it as players. Hey, if we don't get this guy early, we might never get him. And Teoscar hit the home run in the first inning after Gurriel's one-out double. And then Price has settled in. Same for Jay Happ. Jay was able to get around a couple of base runners in the first inning and stranded a pair. And now Happ has 5 strikeouts through 3 innings.
Russell Martin grounded out his first time up. Did you feel you had an advantage when you hit against somebody you had caught previously?
Yes, I did. And when I went from Kansas City to Milwaukee, I faced Paul Spudorf, Dennis Leonard, Larry Gura, all those guys, and I knew them well. I never had too many advantages at the plate, but when I knew those guys, and I think the numbers back it up, that I would have some success. There were different things they did and patterns that they fell in that I was very aware of. I think with Russell and Price, it can be kind of the same thing, but Price still is a little bit different than he was in 2015 because he doesn't have that velocity.
So you would say, okay, Gura, Splittorf, Leonard, I know what you do in these situations. You wouldn't worry that they would know that you know and that they would try to double cross you a little bit?
No, especially me as a hitter. They're just going to stick to their strengths, and I was very confident they were going to do that. I think I ended up hitting 3 home runs off Splittorf and maybe 3 off of Gura.
Wow. 2 pretty good pitchers. Really good pitchers.
I caught Splittorf during his 20-win season, and of course he was one of the best best Royals that ever pitched in that uniform.
Full count on Martin.
Right now, in the past, you would think, okay, Price is going to reach back for 97, 98. He doesn't have that anymore. So it's probably going to be a pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Cutter ran over the heart of the plate, and Martin fouled it off.
Yeah, with Price, when you see that cutter, and when he was top of the game, he never missed with that cutter. And that's what the great ones do. They have a payoff pitch like that last pitch to Martin, and they bury it, and you're out. Well, Price is not that fine right now.
Strike 3 called. And Martin, frustrated, slams the bat down a little bit, walking back to the dugout. Go bottom 4, 2-0 Blue Jays. Martinez and Arash Madani on Dan Schulman. The Blue Jays are up 2-0 behind Happ, who has had tremendous success against the Boston Red Sox since the 2016 season. And that's why, and I want to get your opinion on this, Buck. I mean, yeah, he didn't pitch well at all against the Yankees 5 days ago, but he's done this to the Red Sox, and he's doing it again tonight. And if you're the Yankees, isn't that more important what he does against the Red Sox, because they're going to face the Red Sox a ton in the second half of the season and maybe in October.
Yes, it is extremely important in the fact that Jay has pitched in the East. He doesn't have to make any adjustments mentally to pitch against these tough ball clubs in the East. And the fact, I mean, there's a lot of things that make Jay very attractive. First of all, the character, the guy he is, the preparation he takes to get ready for a game. He's been traded 3 times in the middle of the season and he understands what that's all about. But he's pitched in the American League East. And he doesn't get intimidated in these small ballparks, and they are small ballparks in the East. But I think it has a lot to do with the consideration these teams are going to make.
I think if he does well tonight, that if the Yankees were interested in him, they forget about what he did against them and they focus on this start tonight. And as you said, he's got such a track record. Everybody knows what this guy's done.
And you know, I don't think the analysts now that are so involved in all of these deals concern themselves with 1 game or 2 games. I think they look at the body of work as Swihart strikes on it.
That is 6 strikeouts already for Happ tonight.
Yeah, and again, look at the target from Martin upstairs, and the analytical breakdown suggests that there are a lot of outs top of the zone, and Happ has that 4-seam fastball that he can elevate, and now all of a sudden he's got his command. He is zeroed in now.
You know, it's really a shame he's had 2 or 3 really rough starts, 6 earned runs, 7 earned runs, because it inflates his overall number, specifically ERA. And for somebody who hasn't watched Jay Happ pitch, you see a guy with an ERA of 4.44 and you go,
No,
he's been a lot better than this year.
He has been a lot better. And especially when you think about what do you want him for? You want him to win games in August and September and October. And he is not going to get rattled. He's not going to get himself into tough situations, and he's not going to panic looking at a lineup.
Ball and a strike to count on Xander Bogaerts, who struck out looking to end the first. There's another high fastball swung on and missed. This is the Jay Happ we've seen for the better part of the season.
Yes. And it took him an inning to get settled into it. Remember, he started the first inning pitching away. And now he's got the confidence that he can command his fastball. So he can challenge the hitters not only up, but in.
You know, it's one of those strange situations, too. The better he pitches tonight, in theory, the more likely this could be his last start. That somebody says, I want to trade for that guy. And okay, Ross Atkins, I'll give you what you want for that guy.
Well, I think that's the real challenge for Ross Atkins is when are you going to know you have your best offer? And you know what? I don't think it's based on need for the Blue Jays, because obviously you're going to look at a player that's probably a year and a half, 2 years away from being in the big league. So you're not looking at this team saying, I need this right now. You're looking at getting the best possible player you can in exchange for a very, very good commodity in Jay Happ.
Like the draft kind of. You take the best player available for the most part. 1-2 again.
Changeup he missed downstairs with it. Maybe he turned that fastball over a bit. It was 88 miles an hour. Xander Bogaerts has never had a lot of fun facing Jay Happ.
As in 3 for 25.
That's
not fun.
Not a lot of fun.
Well, 4 for 26. That'll make it feel a little bit better. You won't believe where WestJet rewards can take you. Redeem your WestJet dollars to over 450 partner destinations around the globe. Join today at westjet.com/rewards.
Take a look at this last swing from Xander Bogaerts after everything was up. Watch how he stays on that pitch down. That's a good pitch, but his entire mindset during that whole at bat was, I'm going to stay down on the ball. Then when he gets the one pitch that was down, he rips it into center. All of these hitters nowadays in the game, as it is right now, are focused on balls down. They have protective elbow pads. They know the pitcher can't throw at them, so they're diving to get that ball down out over the plate. And when you make a good pitch, chances are they're going to hit it, even though you've set it up well.
Brock Holt, the batter, struck out his first time up. Takes low, a ball and a strike.
when you're in the batter's box and you have some doubts in your mind, this guy might throw at me. Not to hit me necessarily, but just to back me off the plate. Well, that is such a small part of the game nowadays that hitters have more confidence stepping in the box against pitchers than ever before. I remember one of the opening days we played here years ago in the 80s when Dennis Eckersley was on the mound. And Rance Mullinax hit a home run just around the pesky pole. Eckersley hit him with the next pitch next time he faced him.
But it's not like Rance flipped his bat or flaunted it or anything.
It was just,
right?
hey, you're a little guy and you shouldn't be hitting home runs off me. And Eck would do that. Eck, of course, does the color commentating for the Red Sox here. And what a terrific competitor he was.
There's a chopper toward short. Gurriel shoveled a second one on to first. Not in time. Boy, they made that close. Bogart's going into second hard, but he is forced at the bag for out number 2.
Yeah, Gurriel has to wait on that high bouncing ball, and then he shovels it underhand to Travis, but Brock Holt, hitting from the left-handed hitter's batter's box, busts it up the line and beats the relay.
So 2 down with Holt aboard on a fielder's choice. And now Alex Cora is out asking something of home plate umpire Trip Gibson. And something to do with second base. Maybe was Travis's foot not on the bag at time? Was he straddling the bag? But it looks like Cora, I don't know if he's asking for a replay or an explanation the way that this conversation looks.
He's stepping right on the middle of the base. But
he lifted the leg up.
He lifted the leg up. Now that's a matter of determining, is the ball in his glove when he lifts the leg up. Now John Gibbons wants an explanation from Brian Gorman. Gorman is a crew chief. And the video replay is out on the warning track.
And that's Travis just trying to get his momentum going to first as quickly as he can to get as much on the throw as he can. And this one might get overturned.
You know what? And this again, I don't think this is the spirit of video replay. He got there, the ball was there, beat him on the bag. He was on the base. It's not like he was straddling the base and never touched it. He stepped on the base. And I guess if you slow it down frame by frame, you could say, well, his foot was in the air when he had the ball. And I don't think that's what video replay was meant to do.
It's like when a guy slides into second to steal a base and his foot is on the bag before the throw, but then it kind of pops off for a second, and then and fielders now are taught keep the tag on the guy all the time. And there are some calls, you're right, that are not really the way the spirit of the rule was intended, but by the letter of the law they could easily overturn this if his left foot is off the bag, and it's off the bag before he catches the ball.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they interpret it, because the ruling on the field is that it's a force out, as Travis had the ball, but he was clearly coming off the bag before he caught the ball. But like the slides into second base, when a guy beats the tag into second base and then his momentum takes him off the base, I don't agree with that at all. And I know that's what they say, well, the video replay shows that he lost contact. Well, I don't think that's what it was meant to do. Did he beat the throw into second?
I'm actually surprised this one's taken as long as it is. I guess the longer it takes, the more potentially it could go in the Blue Jays' favor. If it was as cut and dried as it appeared to be, they would have taken the headsets off already.
Watch the ball in the glove and the foot on the bag. It's off the bag. The ball's not yet in the glove. And if they have that replay right there, I think they have justification to overturn the call on the field. But again, so many times we have seen this, and sitting in the booth, you say, oh, they got to overturn that, and they don't.
Yeah, unless, I mean, after his foot left the bag, his left foot then went behind the bases and possibly scraped the bag with his toes. It wasn't what I was looking for the first time, just that time. I don't know if we can get one more look at it before they come to a decision, but remember, they've got to have what they feel is firm evidence to overturn the call that was on the field.
This is not going to show you the angle you were concerned about, because that his feet are covered up by Bogarts.
Yeah, no, it looks like his foot just went straight back. Say, yeah, I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
His foot was off the bag. It's unfortunate for the Blue Jays, but by the way the game is called today, That's the right call.
And Alex Cora is congratulating the video replay guy right there, because that was a tough one, and he got a late notification. They challenged that call. But you can see he turns around, and watch how he acknowledged the video room. Hey, give him a call. Tip the cap to that video room, because he got the heads up.
Right.
It wasn't in the dugout where they said challenge it. They got alerted from their video replay.
So it's a big call. Instead of runner at first, 2 down, it's first and second and only 1 out. And Happ had to sit through a long delay as well. He threw a number of warm-up pitches into Russell Martin. But now back to the action with Eduardo Nunez.
Nunez again uncharacteristically taking a pitch.
And waiting for the scoring, it is fielder's choice E4. So Travis has been charged with an error on the play for not having his foot down on the bat. Meanwhile, the word on Steve Pearce, he's already had X-rays taken. They have come back negative. He's got a contusion, which is a fancy word for a bruise, a welt.
An owie.
And he is day to day.
And I bet you he's got a big bag of ice on it right now.
Yeah. Because that's the kind of thing that gets worse before it gets better. Happ still throwing the ball by people tonight.
And you see it's 94. It's not like we saw last night in Atlanta with Fultonavich in the upper 90s, but because Happ has a short arm delivery and he hides the ball very well, hitters are late to react to his fastball, and he beats them a lot upstairs.
1-2, the count on Nunez. Foul to back just below us. 2-0 Blue Jays on the home run hit by Teoscar Hernandez back at the top of the first. And Jay Happ has been very good so far tonight. 3 1/3. He's given up 3 hits, hasn't walked a batter, hit 1. That was Steve Pearce, knocked him out of the game. He has struck out 6, but in part because of the error on Travis, in a bit of a jam here. Weakly hit back towards the mound. Happ's got to hurry, and he won't get him. And maybe just a little bit of indecision between pitcher and catcher as to who was going to make the play on that ball, Buck, and that cost him.
Yeah, it sure did. I think Russell came out of the chute thinking he was going to get it, and then Happ and Russell kind of looked at each other, and there was a moment of hesitation. Watch the reaction of the catcher. Little tapper in front of the home. He comes out, and then he hesitates. I think he had a better shot of moving toward the ball, taking his momentum through that ball. He would have had a better shot, I believe, at Nunez. Not much of a chance for Jay Happ.
So a base hit, an error, and then an infield hit. And the bases are now loaded for the Red Sox for the catcher, Sandy León.
Nobody has been as productive as the Red Sox with the bases loaded. They have been terrific. This year they have a .975 OPS with the bases loaded.
Boy, and Happ having to work awfully hard tonight for a guy who's pitching awfully well.
The Red Sox have 7 grand slams. Cincinnati has 9. Cleveland has hit 8. But the Red Sox as a team have hit .329 with the bases loaded. You give them those extra opportunities and they'll take advantage.
Especially in this ballpark.
Bogarts has hit 2 grand slams. Devers, who's currently on the DL, has hit 2. Mookie Betts, J.D. Martinez, and Keith Moreland have all hit grand slams this year. Sandy León has yet to hit one in his career. Jay Happ would prefer a double play.
1-1. Another play to our right. 1-2 now on León.
Well, the defense has extended the Red Sox opportunity here in this inning, and now they'd love the opportunity to get a double play and get him out of it.
A little bit of sloppiness in the field last night in Atlanta, and then a little bit more here in the 4th inning tonight, endangering this 2-0 lead. And another one back out of play. You know, if you said 3 1/3, 6 strikeouts, he's pitching well, hasn't walked anybody. They've made him throw 76 pitches already.
Yeah, that's the way the Red Sox are, and it's a very deep lineup, balance up and down the order. And the strikeouts are going to elevate your pitch count.
He's already thrown 24 pitches here this inning alone. Bases loaded, 1 out, and a 1-2 count on Leon with a number 9 hitter Jackie Bradley Jr. waiting on deck. Knocked down by Martin. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Martin's going to take another trip to the mound here and have a chat with Jay. Obviously a very important part of the ball game early on. And you can see both of them covering up their mouths, so nothing is exposed to that video. They might not even give a sign here. And there have been a lot of speculation. Of course, the Red Sox have been slapped on the wrist in the past for relaying signs electronically. But Martin probably won't give a sign. No, he's going to go ahead and give a sign. But they have an idea what they're doing as far as trying to retire Sandy Leon.
The 2-2. And he fights off another one. That one was 95 upstairs. A lot of pitches this inning. The delay during the replay situation, an error behind him. Kind of a test of your mental strength as much as your stuff in this kind of a deal for Happ. Ground ball not hit hard though. Shovel it to third in time to get the out. How about the creativity there by Gurriel, and at least they get an out somewhere as a run comes in to score for the Red Sox.
You cannot teach these plays. Instinctively, you've got to have them, man. They're not going to challenge the call at third base, but Gurriel's made a couple of real good plays in this ball game already from shortstop. The only chance he has to get an out on this ball is to go to third base. And he doesn't have time to go in his glove and flip it with his hand, so he flips it with his glove. He's got Ledmus Diaz, who retreats and covers third base, so they're able to get the force out at third. But you cannot teach a guy how to do plays like this. They just have to react, and he's a baseball player.
And Ledmus Diaz looked just slightly shaken up on the play, but he's okay. Remember, this is an adjustment for Diaz as well. It's his first start of the year at third base. Just his 4th big league start at third base. He's filled in games here and there. So, but he's doing something a little bit different in order to accommodate the Blue Jays' desire to see Gurriel at short some. And all Gurriel's done tonight is have a double, a single, make a great throw to retire Mookie Betts, who can fly, and then make that play with the shovel to third base.
Yeah, he has done it on both sides of the baseball so far in this game.
0-2 on Bradley. And the runners will advance on the wild pitch. So it's second and third.
Yeah, man. You never want to get him up 90 feet, but especially in this ballpark, it seems like it comes back immediately to haunt you. Now there are 2 runners in scoring position. Look like a cutter breaking ball down in the dirt to Martin's left. And the ball just scoots away from him far enough for the 2 base runners to advance. Nunez moves to third. Leon now at second.
That's about where Happ wanted it. Maybe a little bit too high. Bradley started to swing, but then managed to put the brakes on. Unearned run has scored. Runners at second and third, 2 down, 2-1. The Blue Jays leading here in the 4th inning.
Put a pickoff play on there as Diaz Got Martin's attention. Nunez had a big lead because Diaz was well away from third, but they had put a pickoff play on, but Nunez was heads up. Nunez was a break, and you could see he got the heads up from his third base coach because he was moving back before Martin got the ball.
Base open, but Mookie Betts is on deck. This is a big pitch. And it's ball 4 to load the bases, and now Happ has to deal with Betts. And they're not booing. They're saying Mookie's name here at Fenway right now. Happ's had to throw a ton of pitches here this inning, and he's not out of it yet. And now he's going to get another visit. Second one tonight. Pete Walker's on his way out to the mound.
Yeah, and Pete Walker is just giving Jay a chance to catch his breath. It's been an extended inning. As you see, Joe Biagini starting to crank it up for the Blue Jays down in the right field bullpen. But when a pitcher throws this many pitches in an inning, you've got to give him a chance to catch his breath and regroup and try to work out of it. Especially when you're dealing with such a dangerous hitter as Mookie Betts.
Some concern, and rightly so, for John Gibbons and Pete Walker. A 33 pitch bottom of the fourth so far. And one of the very best hitters in baseball is at the plate with the bases loaded.
Yeah, you really got to make a good pitch on this first pitch to Betts.
And there for a strike. Betts tonight has lined out to center, but then grounded out to short. That was the play where Gurriel made the strong throw to get him. And Mookie now in his career 5 for 31 against Jay Happ. Little up and in.
Yeah, we talked about Betts and his struggles against Happ, same as Bogart's, because Jay Happ can elevate the fastball. And they are both very good low ball hitters. Extremely good out over the plate.
Big swing and a miss, 1-2. Well, this is a real test for any starting pitcher. 36 pitches. Again, coulda, shoulda been out of the inning. The error behind him, the ball between Happ and Martin, where Happ eventually got it, but didn't get enough on the throw, didn't get the throw to first in time. They haven't hit him hard, but he's been in battle mode for a while. Popped up, foul territory, smoke. Can't make the play. Popped out of his glove and then fell behind him. Oh, man.
And you could see how determined Smoke was, knowing he had a chance to get out of the inning. He takes a long run, reaches out, gets his glove on it. It pops in the air, but it's too far behind him. He can't grab it with his bare hand. He was busting it down that foul line, knowing full well if they had a chance to get out of it, they've got to take advantage of it. But now Mookie Betts will have another chance.
And boy, do these guys playing behind Happ want to do anything they can do to get him off the field right now. Not a play. About as tough an out as there is in the game this year, leading the majors in OPS, so that's a pretty good place to start.
But with 2 strikes, hitting .321.
And they're ratcheting up the noise here at Fenway. Another one back out of play. That's now 39 pitches thrown by Jay Happ here in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, in a regular inning, pitcher will throw 15, maybe 16 pitches. So it's like he's pitched almost 2.5 innings without going to sit down on a bench. The major league average hitting with 2 strikes is 172.
And he's .321. And Happ will step off again.
Russ was giving Happ signs before Betts steps in the box. Just setting up the indicator, telling which set of signs they're using.
Got a catcher out at second for the Red Sox. Got a piece, fouls off another one. They've got 2 hits this inning. One of them was an infield hit. There's been a walk. There's been an error. There's been a fielder's choice. There's been a wild pitch. There's been a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And they've only scored 1 run, although Happ should have been in the dugout long ago. Can he get that elusive third out? In and out of the mid of Martin. And it goes on.
'93 pitches now.
41 in the bottom of the 4th. Biagini continues to warm up in the bullpen. What a strange half inning. Again the 1-2. And again fouled back out of play.
Now, this is how you hit 321 with 2 strikes. Mookie Betts is a powerful hitter, but he has shortened up his swing. Just trying to protect the plate. I mean, this is an old-fashioned approach. You talk to the old hitters and they say, what do you do with 2 strikes? Protect the plate. You don't try to hit it anywhere specifically. You just try to make contact. Anything close, you got to foul it off.
And you can see Happ taking a little bit of extra time between pitches. Blocked by Martin. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now Trip Gibson, the home plate umpire, will dust the plate off. A little bit more time between pitches. What is the physical exertion like in this kind of an inning?
It's like a boxer boxing a 6-minute round instead of 3. Your legs get tired, your arms get heavy. It's like you don't have anything left to punch with.
2-2 the count. Check swing, foul off.
What about Happ? A little bit extra on the fastball. That last pitch was 96.
With each pitch, the crowd gets a little bit louder. Or a lot louder. What a battle between Happ and Betts. Bounces away from Martin. The runners will not try to advance, but the count is full.
Nunez came way down the line from third, but you got to be sure with 2 outs that he stayed put with Mookie Betts at the plate. You don't want to leave him standing in the box and run into an out at home.
Nunez at third, Leone at second, Bradley at first. 2 down and a full count. Everybody will be on the move on the 3-2 pitch to Mookie Betts. And this one is not coming back. Mookie Betts launches one into the night for a grand slam. You just can't give them that many chances in this ballpark.
No. And to have that many pitches in one at bat, Mookie Betts won that long battle with Jay Happ. Second grand slam for Betts this season. That's the 8th grand slam the Red Sox have hit. They have scored 5 runs here in the 4th.
That's all for Happ. The Red Sox have turned it around. Lead 5-2. And a night that started great ends prematurely for the big lefty. inevitability about it, with the Blue Jays leaving the door open and giving the Red Sox extra outs. And then J. Happ and Mookie Betts went at it for 13 pitches. Happ made some good pitches. Betts fouled off some good pitches. And then finally, Betts just lost one over the monster.
Another pitch down, bottom of the strike zone, and Betts hits it 407 over the Green Monster seats in left. What a battle. Happ and Betts going toe-to-toe.
Fourth career grand slam for Betts. Now Joe Biagini. I mean, you do have to feel for him.
Absolutely. But you see the difference in the swing. Those balls down in the zone. Mookie Betts almost fell down celebrating the home run. But Happ had made some terrific pitches to him in that at bat. But again, all of these hitters in the game today are very good low ball hitters.
You know who can relate a little bit is Betts' manager Alex Cora, who is not a great big league hitter. He's a very good utility player, good infielder. He had, I think, a 21 pitch at bat when he was a Dodger. Matt Clement was pitching for the Cubs. Alex Cora, the at bat lasted 14 minutes, and Alex Cora eventually hit a home run. 21 or 22 pitches, something like that. So I bet you that might have been on his mind when Mookie Betts hit that.
You know, as it went on and the pitch count kept climbing and climbing, I'm sure he did think back to that. It was the long one this year, Brandon Belt with the Giants.
That's right. Yeah. And just you get the pendulum just swings towards the hitter with each pitch. It's just the way it works. And there's strike three called as Biagini gets Benintendi to end the bottom of the fourth. 5-2 Boston, though, after the grand slam by Betts. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. There's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio. Not included. Now has a 5-2 lead, and in his career, and obviously this goes way back to his days with Tampa Bay as the 97, 98 mile an hour guy, Cy Young Award winner. Got some pretty nice numbers against the Blue Jays.
19-3 with a very impressive earned run average, and Blue Jays have hit just .226 for their career against David Price. 19 wins, the most wins against one club for David Price, and now he's got a 3-run cushion. It's up to the Blue Jays to come out swinging now. Got to come back and get on David Price. All those runs that Happ surrendered, they're all unearned runs because of the error. But still, it doesn't set any better with J. Happ. He was in here with one thing on his mind. That was to beat the Red Sox.
Through 3 innings, was looking great. 2 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Started the 4th inning by striking out Swihart. Base hit to Bogarts, and then the ground ball out to Gurriel. Shovel it on to Travis, but in Travis's haste to try to turn a double play, if you weren't with us, lifted his left foot off the bag before receiving the throw from Gurriel. The Red Sox went to replay. It was overturned. Instead of 1 on 2 out, it was 2 on 1 out. to be fair, other issues in the inning as well. The ball between Happ and Martin. I mean, that's a play that's an out most of the time at the big league level.
And too, another thing that I think the Red Sox are going to talk about after this game, it wasn't the bench that said, hey, let's review that play at second. It was the video replay room. The guy that's inside looking at the replay. They gave the bench the heads up, and then Cora would ask the umpires to look at the video review, and they had the play overturned, and that turned the whole inning around.
2-2 to Pilar. Inside of the bell to full count.
You see, that's another aspect of video review that I think should be changed. I don't think you should have the ability to communicate with the video room. I think you should make your baseball decisions in the dugout. If your baseball people believe that that call is wrong, that's when you should appeal it. I don't think you should have time to sit and look at replay after replay. I think that creates delays in the game, and I think it gives, you know, just the opportunity to look at 6 or 7 different replays and say, oh, there it is right there. He was off the bag for that minute point of time. Keep it in the dugout. Keep it on the field.
I agree with you. Into center field, but there's Bradley, and Pilar's retired, 1 down.
Take on any project with Home Hardware, proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Really nice night here in Boston. Glad you're with us from Fenway Park. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Arash Madani. But if you stepped away for a while, as in like half an hour, which is how long the bottom of the 4th lasted, it's a different ball game right now. Boston's up 5-2. Devin Travis had an infield hit his first time up. Blue Jays got their 2 in the first on a home run by Teoscar Hernandez, but Price has really locked in ever since. But this one's going to get down and get to the wall. Benintendi bare hands it off the wall, and it'll be a long single for Devin Travis, who, remember, was thrown out trying to stretch a single into a double his last time up, and maybe was a little overly conservative there because of that. When, as we saw the throw come in from the fence, he would have made it that time, but he wanted to be cautious.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it's a reaction to that first play, but this ball skips past Benintendi, and we talked about what a good defensive outfield this is here in Boston. He plays it perfectly, and Travis was thinking about going to second, but Benintendi plays the wall so well. All 3 of these outfielders can play center field. Benintendi barehands it and fires it, but his throw was offline, but Travis stops it first.
Boy, Aledmus Diaz is not seeing the ball tonight. He had a rough first at bat against Price, and he just waved at that fastball up and away. Diaz, as we mentioned, getting his first start of the year for the Blue Jays at third base tonight, and this is an alignment we will see occasionally. I don't think frequently. John Gibbons was asked before the game, so is it 4 guys for 3 spots with Travis, Gurriel, Diaz, Solarte, or is Solarte the third baseman? It's the other 3 for 2 spots, and every now and again you'll do this. And that was the answer that Gibby chose, that Solarte still is solidified as the third baseman. So he figures to play on pretty much an everyday basis, which kind of chews into the playing time of the other 3 guys.
Well, I think the guy that's going to get a lot of playing time is going to be Gurriel. I think they have to find out what they have in the second half of this season. But each time he plays, each time you see him, the more you like him, and he's going to be a hitter. There's no question about that. He's going to be a good big league hitter.
And Diaz strikes out again. Number 7 for Price.
Price had 9 strikeouts in his start last time against Kansas City, but he didn't get out of the 5th inning. This ball is off the plate, and you're right. I don't think Diaz has picked up the ball well tonight off of Price. Price had 9 strikeouts. That was his season tying high. He also had 9 strikeouts earlier in the season at Tampa Bay.
Here's Grichuk. He takes the cutter inside for ball 1.
This is a real test for the Blue Jays. They had a lead 2-0. Now they fall behind, and here in the middle of the ballgame, there's a lot of game left here. They're going to scratch and claw, and yeah, it hasn't been the kind of season everybody hoped for, but you got to show your character in this game. Keep plugging away. You don't want the Red Sox to turn you into a doormat right before the All-Star break.
You're playing the team with the best record in baseball. They're on the longest active winning streak in baseball right now. Price really pitching into the righties right now. Or at least in this case to Grichuk. 2 balls and a strike. Down the right field line, but well foul into the second deck. 2-2.
Now, David Price is in his 3rd season with the Red Sox, and with all of the criticism he's come under, he comes into this game with a 32-18 record. Isn't that what you want from a starter? Winning games? That's what I want.
Sharply hit. Bogarts has it. Snaps a throw to second in time before Travis and retire the Blue Jays in the top of the 5th. So it remains Red Sox 5, Blue Jays 2, going bottom 5.
You can watch every out of market regular season game live or on demand. The subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, so you can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of the sale. And Dan, if you're watching, you won't be able to see Garrett Richards. The Angels right-hander will have Tommy John surgery on that right elbow.
Wow.
Talk about a guy who just cannot stay healthy.
He was a guy that some teams were talking about as a possible trade candidate. He had that horrific knee injury, and then he had the elbow issue before that he did not go under Tommy John surgery, but now he's going to have to go under the knife.
JD Martinez leads off the bottom of the 5th against Joe Biagini. That's a fair ball. Diaz, long throw, is in time. Looked like Aledmus had just a little trouble maybe getting the ball out of the glove, but still made a strong throw.
That was a tough play because it went right over the base, and there's always a chance it's going to hit that base and pop in the air, but Diaz stayed with it. He made 3 starts last year at third base for the Cardinals, and you see how it bounces right over there. He took a couple of extra steps. The one thing that I have been surprised and pleasantly surprised by, his arm strength. He threw that off balance and throws a strike to Smoke in time to retire JD Martinez.
Blake Swihart turns around to bat for the left side with Joe Biagini in the game for the Blue Jays. Swihart, if you weren't with us, coming on for the injured Steve Pearce, who was hit just above the left ankle by Jay Happ. Eventually left the game, stayed in the game for a while, but then left the game. X-rays negative. He's got a bruise. He's got a welt. As Buck said, he's got an ice pack. Swihart lines it to center field, and Pilar, did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Mike Malinsky, the second base umpire, right fist up in the air, says that Pilar did indeed make the grab.
This is the toughest play for a center fielder. That line drive hit right at you. You got to make a quick decision. Do I come in and try to catch it on the fly? He read it perfectly. Slides that glove underneath the baseball and holds it high in the air to sell it to the umpires. And you really have to react quickly because you don't have a lot of depth perception. You don't have an angle to create a path to that baseball. You just got to charge and trust your judgment.
And the Red Sox took a little time considering whether to ask for a look at that one again, because Pilar kind of rolled over and his glove was hidden for a moment, but then they saw the replay and said, no, go ahead. They waved it off. So 2 down in a hurry here at the bottom of the 5th, and here's Bogaerts 1 for 2. And a strike from Biagini. You know, Happ getting knocked out of this game as early as he did tonight maybe affects the Saturday plans. The Blue Jays haven't announced who's going to start on Saturday. We know it won't be Marco Estrada. He's not coming back till after the All-Star break. The Blue Jays announced before the game today. John Gibbons floated the idea of Sam Gaviglio starting the game because he was knocked out so early in the game in Atlanta. Gibby also said, you know, it could be a bullpen day. He goes, there are a number of things, quote, he said, we could do. They could go get somebody from the minors, but obviously the way things play out tonight and tomorrow impacts what the Saturday situation.
Yeah, they sure do. Just as far as how many innings you're going to use tonight out of your bullpen and how many guys you have to use to compile those innings. And you've got a rookie pitching tomorrow and Ryan Borucki making his first appearance at Fenway Park. It can be a daunting, intimidating challenge to take the mound here. And we have seen Ryan, and he's pitched against the Astros, the Tigers, and the Yankees. He's shown no signs of getting intimidated. But I asked Borucki, I said, it's important for you to watch Happ pitch against the Red Sox tonight. He said, absolutely. Get an idea of what they're all about.
For a ball in the dirt, 2-2 the count.
Borucki made a start in spring training down in Fort Myers against the Red Sox, so it's not like he's never seen any of these hitters before. And he's been impressive. Looking for his first big league win.
You know, and in all 3 starts, he's gotten into some trouble and he's shown the composure to get out of that trouble, which is obviously a huge asset to have at the big league level. Chop foul. Bogaerts got a piece of his foot or leg on that foul ball. So tomorrow it's Borucki. Saturday it's TBD. And then Sunday it's Marcus Stroman.
And then the All-Star break. So when you look at Borucki and what he has done to this point, he's just one of those guys that they've hit 176 against Borucki with runners in scoring position. That's a pretty good number for any pitcher, but especially for a rookie.
The 2-2 popped up and playable for Justin Smoak in foul territory. And that's a 3-up, 3-down, bottom of the 5th for Joe Biagini. Still 5-2 Red Sox now at the end of 5.
Red Sox and signed that 7-year, $217 million deal. And as the guys mentioned, the contract does include an out clause at the end of the season. It was yesterday that longtime Boston columnist Dan Shaughnessy asked Price about it. This is what Price had to say. I'm not going to sit here and say there's 0% chance when there's always a chance of anything, but that's nothing that I'm thinking about or putting any thought to or talking to anyone else about. I expect to win, and I expect to do that here. Now, it's been a tumultuous 2.5 years for Price in Boston, but he told the Globe, quote, "I've never said I've hated Boston or had a problem with the fans." And when he was asked if he wished he'd signed somewhere else, Price's answer was no. So, Dan, an intriguing offseason awaits here in Boston.
Absolutely. And an intriguing second half of the season awaits for David Price and the Red Sox. And he's correct in that he has never said he doesn't like the fans, or he's never said this, he's never said that, but he has been angry on a number of occasions. And you can tell that he's been unhappy at times. It's an interesting answer to a question. And again, maybe it just shows that his frustration level can get to him a little bit. But there are other ways you can answer that question without inviting people like us to start speculating about it. Right.
And you're right. I mean, there's so many ways you can answer that question to eliminate any concerns whatsoever. Hey, I signed the contract. I'm here to do my job, and that's all I'm going to do.
My only concern right now is helping the Red Sox win games. Over. You got to be pretty unhappy to walk away from $127 million guaranteed dollars.
He's not going to do that. I can't imagine he's going to do that. And obviously, he's not pitching like he did when he won a Cy Young in 2012. And he's certainly not going to command that kind of contract. Clayton Kershaw has an out clause in his contract as well at the end of this season with the Dodgers. I mean, there's a couple of things that you consider. You know, where else you're going to go. And when you look at what he has done for his career, 136 wins and a terrific career earned run average, and he won that Cy Young in 2012.
Gurriel lines the ball sharply to left field, but Benintendi is there. Gurriel retired for the first time tonight. The Kershaw one, as you well know, is a little bit different. I could easily see Kershaw not even getting to the opt-out process, but you know, they have a conversation with the Dodgers, and Kershaw's camp says we won't opt out if you extend the deal or something like that. And
but he's not dealing from strength right now either, considering the injuries he's dealt with the last couple of years and the number of games that he's missed.
Boy, can you imagine how Dodger fans would feel if Clayton Kershaw was in another uniform next year?
I mean, the only place that I could see him pitching might be closer to home in Texas.
Well, after pitching all those years at Dodger Stadium, you got to really want to go home to pitch in Arlington. That's a whole different ballgame down there.
Well, when's the new stadium going to be done?
That's true. 2 years, I think.
Yeah. It's another appealing aspect of going home.
1-2 on Smoke. This free agent class of 2018 doesn't look quite like we thought it was going to look like at the beginning of the year when it was talked about as being potentially the best free agent class ever. And Smoke hits a chopper to short. Part of that, of course, is Bryce Harper's not having the year that you would expect him to have. Part of that is Josh Donaldson being injured for so much of the season.
Yeah, when you looked at the start of the season and thought about the possibility of having Harper, Machado, Donaldson, 3 premier offensive players, and then the opt-out possibility of some of the pitchers. But yeah, I think Manny Machado is far and away the most attractive potential free agent at the end of this season. He just turned 26
last week, I think. Yeah. Teoscar Hernandez hit a 2-run homer back in the first.
Again, this is all about Blue Jays saying, you know what, we're not giving in to David Price and the Red Sox. It's 6th inning. You get a couple on and you hit one up into those green monster seats, so you can tie it up in a heartbeat. But you just got to keep plugging away. Can't feel sorry for yourself. You say, hey, we gave up 5 in the 4th. This game is over. Not by any means, especially in this ballpark.
Off the right toe, looked like big toe on the right foot there for Leon.
There's that changeup. You can see the grip and then the foul tip right off that right toe. Pitchers have those extended shin guards that are supposed to protect your feet, but that ball, I guarantee it misses it every time.
What equipment does he have that wasn't available to you when you caught? What are the changes in what he's wearing?
Well, the high extension of the shin guards. We only had that one flop right over the knee. Didn't have any of those extended flaps over the instep by any means.
You played through some pain in 17 years, huh?
Not really.
Not really. Hernandez strikes out 5-2 going bottom 6.
As it wraps up tomorrow down in southern Alberta, you can join the party in Cowtown for the Wild West Festival on Sportsnet. Now, the Blue Jays had hoped Ryan Tepera would be available to them here, but after Tepera threw a bullpen today, the club will instead have him pitch in a rehab game and then return to the team after the All-Star break. Dan?
So some reinforcements are coming after the All-Star break. Sounds like Tepera will be back. Sounds like Estrada will be back. Brock Holt sends the first pitch of the bottom of the 6th to deep center field, but room for Pilar to make the grab one down. Hey, how about a little roster movement down to the minor league level for the Blue Jays? And an interesting guy, Jonathan Davis, a center fielder, 26 years of age, so he's a little bit older, and he's never really been considered a big prospect. 15th round pick out of Central Arkansas back in 2013. Was having a great year for the AA New Hampshire Fisher Cats, hitting over 300. He can run. He's got 19 stolen bases. He'll take a walk, a .386 on base percentage, and the Blue Jays have moved him up to Buffalo. Not a big guy at all, 5'8", 185, 190, but really good speed, a center fielder, and you know, maybe a guy who's starting to sneak onto the radar right now in terms of people to keep an eye on in the organization.
He is a year and a half older than the average player in the AA League, Eastern League, so they moved him up now. And you know, as you mentioned, he's played 6 years in the minor leagues. It's time to really find out what you have. And you know what? I don't think anybody really considered him a real prospect until this season, but he is tied with Bo Bichette for the second most hits in the Eastern League. Both Bichette and Jonathan Davis had 92 hits in AA, and they both had 22 doubles. And he has the kind of profile that you like to see. And you know what? He's 5'8", but we just saw a 5'8" second baseman down in Atlanta. He was a pretty darn good player.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Back at Fenway, 6 in a row set down by Joe Biagini since coming into the game. John Axford and Aaron Loop are up right now in case Biagini needs some help getting out of this inning. Sandy Leon, the batter, he's 0 for 2. The other news in terms of minor league outfielders is Dalton Pompey was activated off the disabled list, but Buck, he's going to Double-A. So Davis in effect taking the spot Pompey used to have. Pompey now taking Davis's spot with the Fisher Cats.
Yeah, and I think that's good because what's happening is now you have so much talent you can kind of reward players that are having good seasons and put pressure on the other guys to produce. After all, it is professional baseball.
And if you missed the other bit of news, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is expected to begin a rehab assignment with the Gulf Coast League affiliate tomorrow, and he will be the designated hitter in that game.
Pompey is playing tonight in Double-A. He's 2 for 3, scored a run and walked in his first game in Double-A this season.
Down the left field line, drops foul.
There's another guy that's starting to create some interest down in Double-A, and that's Harold Ramirez. He's got his average over 300. And he's one of the 2 players that came from Pittsburgh. And Ramirez, Reese McGuire, and Francisco Liriano all came in that trade from Pittsburgh for Drew Hutchison. And Ramirez is a power hitting outfielder. He is currently hitting 3rd in the lineup for New Hampshire. He's 2 for 3 tonight with a double, but he's got his average up to 307. Of course, the guy that has kind of come out of nowhere this year that nobody was really talking a lot about is Cavan Biggio. The second baseman's got 19 home runs.
There's no question there's more organizational depth and talent than there was a year ago on a number of levels. Different levels, different positions.
Biggio has an OPS of 951.
Opening up some eyes, Biagini strikes out Leon, so 7 up, 7 down for Joe Biagini in relief of Jay Happ tonight.
Smells Like Team Spirit, celebrating the 90s with Joe Carter, Fred McGriff, and Jose Cruz Jr. Tickets are on sale now at bluejays.com/extra innings, and all proceeds supporting Jays Cares work across Canada.
Arash, thank you. Some Blue Jay fans in attendance here at Fenway hoping for a comeback. The Jays are down 5-2 going to the 7th. We'll send up Kendrys Morales, Russell Martin, and Kevin Pillar with David Price back on the mound, having thrown 90 pitches through the first 6 innings. Price has not walked a batter tonight. He has struck out 8. as Morales drives the ball to deep center field. Bradley back, and it's off the top of the fence and gone. Home run for Kendrys Morales to make it a 2-run game.
Now, we told you this ballpark will give up runs in a heartbeat, so if you're the Blue Jays, you just got to keep in there and keep plugging away. Morales hits the home run to deep center field, his 11th of the season, second for the Blue Jays in this ball game. And Price tagged for a long home run to center field. And with one swing of the bat, all of a sudden, it's a 2-run game. Well, he's got a lot of power, and from the right side, he doesn't give up much power at all. Hit that ball deep into the seats in center field, not far from where Teoscar Hernandez hit his ball earlier.
Yeah, neither one of these has been a cheap pop fly over the monster or anything, and this one a little bit more in doubt because it hit right on the top of the fence, but then bounced up into the seats. So it's 5-3. He's done a really nice job bouncing back from a dismal start to the season. Russell Martin, the count 0-2. And outside for ball 1. Martin's grounded out and struck out.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is the fact that the closer for the Red Sox might not be available tonight, Craig Kimbrel. So you just got to keep plugging away.
He had to get 4 outs in last night's game against Texas through 23 pitches, and remains to be seen whether Alex Cora wants to use him tonight. Kimbrel headed to the All-Star game. One of 5 Red Sox All-Stars. Hot shot down to third. Nunez back to his feet, and he pulls Swihart off the bag, but the tag applied on Martin for the first out. Activity in the Red Sox bullpen right now, not surprisingly, with Price nearing 100 pitches. The right-hander was Brandon Workman. The left-hander was the recently recalled Robbie Scott. Red Sox were going a while without a lefty in the bullpen. And if there is an area of need for the team with the best record in baseball, a lot of people think that Dave Dombrowski, who's been a very active guy over the years with all the different teams that he's run, that he'll probably go out and get a bullpen arm.
Yeah, and he probably thinks about first and foremost a lefty bullpen arm, but you're not going to get just a pedestrian left-hander. You want to get somebody that can get lefty hitters out. And obviously, the way Greg Bird's starting to swing the bat, that's one guy you would think about. Okay, Bird, Didi Gregorius, some of those Yankee hitters that you have to get out should you meet up in a playoff scenario. The Red Sox bullpen, they still rank okay, but I think they need more depth down there. Alex Cora would like to have a few more rock-solid arms in the middle innings.
Well, Zach Britton's going to go somewhere. I mean, you want to get a lefty, that's a pretty good one.
I talked to some scouts tonight before the game, and they had seen Britton recently. He was coming back from that Achilles injury, and they say he's starting to really throw the ball well. He's probably about 3-4 appearances away from commanding that sinker. The velocity's back, the movement's back, but the command is still wanting a bit. But 3 or 4 more appearances, he'll get zeroed in. Then he really becomes a commodity.
I bet you Houston's scouting him pretty heavily too.
You remember last year they had some conversations about him at the trade deadline, but that never worked out. Houston's going to get a reliever or 2 before it's all said and done.
Sent Ken Giles down to the minors a couple of days ago. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count on Kevin Pillar, who's 0 for 2.
David Price getting near the end of the line. He has now thrown 101 pitches in this game.
A pretty good bounce back outing for him, though, after a rough last couple of starts, one against the Yankees and one against the Royals. Pillar keeps fighting off pitches.
Mentioned Price in his time with the Blue Jays down the stretch in 2015 went 9-1 with a .230 earned run average. Coming into this game, he'd been roughed up over his last 2 starts, one against the Yankees, one against the Royals.
Leone and Swihart both there. Easier play for the first baseman Swihart. 2 down. You know, there will still be questions, as you well know, as Alex Cora is on his way out. What can David Price do in October when you give him the ball to start a big game? That hasn't gone well for him in his career, but tonight definitely went well. Cora will take the ball. He wants the right-hander Brandon Workman, and David Price will get a nice ovation coming off the mound here at Fenway Park.
Of one of the most prestigious cycling races of the year, July 7th to 29th on Sportsnet 1. The overall leader right now, Greg Van Avermaet. Dan.
Harash, what'd you think of Wimbledon? Where are you on Wimbledon?
Well, it's a tough one for Raonic again,
Yeah.
Dan. Here he gets to the quarterfinals and again injured. So back to the drawing board for Milos.
Unfortunately. Get a chance to see, hopefully, if he's healthy, get a chance to see him and Shapovalov, of course, at the Rogers Cup in Toronto next month. Brandon Workman into the game now for the Red Sox.
Brandon Workman making his 17th appearance of the season against the Blue Jays. He's 0-2 in 8 career games. He's made a start against the Blue Jays. He has pitched well here at Fenway this season. All 8 of his appearances here at Fenway Park have been scoreless. Total of 7 2/3 innings. Workman now 29 years old.
Devin Travis is the batter. He's had a couple of hits tonight. And also, unfortunately for Travis, involved in the most pivotal play of the game, and that was the error out at second base when he took his foot off the bag before receiving the throw from Gurriel. Replay overturned it, so the runner was safe at second, and the inning grew from there and eventually culminated in a Mookie Betts grand slam on the 13th pitch of an at-bat against Jay Happ. All 5 runs for the Red Sox tonight, scoring in the bottom of the 4th.
All unearned.
And it's a 3-hit night for Devin Travis. This one off the glove of Bogarts into shallow left. And we're going to see a pinch hitter now for Aledmus Diaz. Yangervis Solarte will come up to bat against Workman.
This will be his first pinch hitting appearance of the season, as he has started most of the times. He did not start this game. He comes off the bench to bat for Diaz. Aledmus did not have a good night against Price. He struck out both times.
So Solarte up as the potential tying run with the man on and 2 down here in the top of the 7th.
Solarte has never faced Workman. Workman came up originally with the Red Sox in 2013. Appeared in 20 games, made 3 starts. Then again in 14, he made 15 starts for the Red Sox. But he was not in the big leagues or for 15 or 16 as he was dealing with injuries. And last year got into 33 games, all out of the bullpen, and this is his 17th appearance this season.
And I think him being in the 7th suggests Kimbrel's not available tonight, because they've got Matt Barnes and they've got Joe Kelly, and if all 3 were available, one of them would be pitching the 7th inning.
That suggests that Kelly is going to be saved to close out this game.
It'll be Barnes and Kelly, but probably no Kimbrel tonight, after the 4-out save he got last night against Texas. Neither Barnes nor Kelly pitched in last night's game, so we're assuming they are available and that it's Kimbrel the one who may not be. Nothing but breaking balls, and that one a call on the outside corner for Workman. It's 2-1.
He meant to throw it inside, and that just barely a strike, if it was indeed off the plate, looked like.
This ball lined to right field. Betts coming on to make the catch. And Solarte and the Blue Jays are retired. Here in the top of the 7th. 7th inning stretch. 5-3 Red Sox.
Right. Grichuk says the biggest adjustment of changing those positions is just how much more aggressive he has to be in the middle of the outfield. In center, it's about taking control, he said, but also being the key communicator. He said yesterday in Atlanta there was constant talking, acknowledging, being aware and directing traffic for the corner outfielders. And he said it was Jim Edmonds in St. Louis, who was Grichuk's mentor, who told him the key message out there, just keep communicating with your outfielders.
Well, always nice to have a corner outfielder who is very comfortable in center field. Of course, the Red Sox have that, as Alex Cora. He's used both Benintendi and Betts in center field at times, and Grichuk more than comfortable to go over to center field. Changes for the Blue Jays as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Yangervis Solarte stays in the game at 3rd after pinch hitting for Aledmys Diaz. And the new pitcher for the Blue Jays is the big right-hander, John Axford.
John Axford has really been throwing the ball well of late. This will be his 40th appearance of the season. Axford came in to pitch the 7th inning last night in Atlanta. Had a 3-up, 3-down inning with a strikeout of Ronald Acuna Jr. Axford for the season is ERA over 4, but that can be misleading for a reliever. You have a bad outing, a bad inning, give up a couple of runs, and all of a sudden it'll inflate your ERA.
As we talked about, everybody's looking for pitching help. A lot of teams looking for bullpen arms, and would it be surprising at all if teams are making phone calls about John Axford, among others, in the Blue Jay bullpen? Jackie Bradley Jr. leading off the bottom of the 7th. He has singled and stolen a base and then walked and scored. He's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. You can see the numbers overall are not very good, but the last 10 days or so, the results are starting to come for Bradley. He could stay in the lineup for the most part just on defense alone, but anything he can give him down at the bottom of the order was a bonus.
Yeah, he's got Great speed, as we mentioned earlier. He had a stolen base earlier in the game and picks up his 11th stolen base of the season. The Red Sox, they are blessed with a lot of talent, but all their young talent is here in the big leagues. Bradley now is 28 years old. He turned 28 in April. This is his 6th season with the Red Sox. A couple years ago, he had 26 home runs and drove in 87.
You know, you mentioned all the guys are here now for the Red Sox. Two pretty big differences between the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Yankees are under the luxury tax threshold. The Red Sox are over it already, and they're paying tax already on the salaries they have. And if they were to make a trade, they'd have to pay some more tax on top of it. And the Yankees still have what are considered to be some very good prospects in their system. As Bradley smokes one off the monster to left. Runs out from under his batting helmet on the way to second and just safe ahead of the throw with a leadoff double. Drive of the game brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
We go back to the 4th inning, and with the bases loaded, Mookie Betts at the plate battling Jay Happ, but it was an extended at-bat. 13 pitches in the at-bat, and the 13th pitch was down. Might have been a ball low, but Mookie Betts golfs it out of the ballpark. The 8th grand slam for the Red Sox, the 4th career grand slam for Mookie Betts, and the 2nd slam he's hit this season. That capped off a 5-run 4th inning.
Extended the hitting streak to 10. And again, they are chanting his name as they do every time he comes to the plate. You're starting to hear a little bit of an MVP chant here at Fenway Park.
Yeah, and it's understandable. He's hit .395 in the month of July, 3 homers and 7 RBIs. Mookie Betts is one of just a handful of players in the majors that has more walks than strikeouts. Plus the fact that he's powerful. The home run he hit was his 23rd of the season. In this era of nobody really worrying about strikeouts, he's an exception. There are more strikeouts in the majors than hits this season. But you look at the names on this list, more walks than strikeouts: Carlos Santana, Joey Votto, Jose Ramirez, Ben Zobrist, Andrelton Simmons.
Right past Martin to the backstop, and to third is Bradley.
Second wild pitch by the Blue Jays this evening. Happ had a wild pitch in the 4th inning. And now the Blue Jays infield is going to have to come and play in. This ball just bounces right past Mookie Betts and Russell Martin all the way to the backstop.
So the infield is in for the Blue Jays with a runner at third, nobody out, 2-1. The count on Betts. There's a curveball from Axford that drops in for a strike. Chase there, and tells Bradley to put the brakes on at third base.
Again, we mentioned Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting .321 with 2 strikes, and that's the home run came on the 13th pitch of an at-bat, very extended at-bat, another 2-strike hit for Mookie Betts.
The 3-2. Ripped to left field, and this one's going to be off the monster on the fly. It's a long single for Betts, his 5th RBI of the night, and it is 6-3 Red Sox.
Well, he was waiting on that breaking ball and stayed back and did not commit at all, and that's how you hit well with 2 strikes. You cut your swing down. Think about just putting the bat on the ball, and he drives it off the green monster in left. Jackie Bradley Jr. comes and scores the 2nd run he scored tonight. It's now a 6-3 ball game, but Betts cuts his swing down, gets the breaking ball, waits on it perfectly, and hits it to the bottom of the scoreboard in left. Now you got to keep your eye on him at first. He looks like he wants to run.
He sure does. He's got a big lead. Bradley stole his base on the first pitch earlier tonight. Betts is not going as Benintendi fouls it back.
This is where these three guys in the order really create distractions. Bradley in the 9th spot, Betts in the leadoff spot, and then Benintendi hitting second. They have speed. Betts and Benintendi are tremendous hitters, and they really keep pressure on the pitcher. The distraction and just the thought that maybe Betts is going to run can force a pitcher into a mistake. I think so many teams discount the impact of a stolen base.
Yeah. But sometimes the threat of the stolen base is as valuable as the stolen base itself.
The middle infielders, they got to take a peek at Mookie Betts right before the pitch is delivered.
That is a big lead.
Not running.
And a ground ball to second. Travis to Gurriel. And back to Smoke for the double play. So 2 down and the base is empty, but a valuable insurance run already in for the Red Sox here with the bottom of the 7th as they now lead 6-3. And Axford will now face JD Martinez. And a base hit in the first. He has struck out and grounded out since. How about these numbers? Since the All-Star break last year, and he was traded from Detroit to Arizona just after the All-Star break, but from the All-Star break, if I have my numbers correct, 59 home runs and 151 RBIs, basically in a year's worth of baseball.
Yeah, he's really developed into one of the premier run producers in all of baseball, and he's in the prime of his career. Just 30 years old. And he was actually let go by Houston. And Houston just kind of gave up on him because they didn't feel like he was going to develop. He was released by Houston in March of 2014, and 2 days later, the Tigers signed him.
Kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, and to see a player that has turned into this, he was originally a 20th round pick. As you see Matt Barnes loosening up for the Red Sox, but a 20th round pick to develop into potentially a Triple Crown candidate.
You know, 2 years ago, they still had David Ortiz, who ended his career on a high note, had a great last season. Last year, they didn't have much power at all. The Red Sox were last in the American League in home runs last year, which is kind of hard to believe when you think about this team. But they didn't have that guy to really anchor the lineup. They've got that guy now. Makes everybody else's job a little bit easier.
Well, it certainly does, and especially for the two guys hitting ahead of him. So when Mookie Betts gets to 2 strikes, he doesn't think that I've got to hit a home run. I've got to get on base. Benintendi has that same luxury with JD Martinez hitting behind him. So you become better hitters because you've got a run producer batting behind you. You don't have to think about hitting a home run or hitting an extra base hit.
Swing and a miss, and Axford gets him to win the bottom of the 7th. But the Red Sox add a run and now lead 6-3 here at Fenway. transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Over to Boston, the Red Sox lead the Blue Jays 6-3, going to the top of the 8th inning. And here comes a guy with a lot of velocity, Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes making his 40th appearance of the season, as we suggested. Looks like Craig Kimball's not available, so Barnes will work the 8th. And if all goes well, Joe Kelly will more than likely work the 9th. For Barnes, his last outing came against Texas. He pitched an inning and struck out the side against Texas. That was on Tuesday.
And he'll face the top of the Blue Jay order: Grichuk, Gurriel, and Smoke. 6 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Red Sox. 3, 7, and 1, and the one is a biggie tonight. The Travis error back in the 4th inning that eventually led to the Mookie Betts grand slam. Betts is driven in 5. Red Sox lead 6-3. Play.
You know, you mentioned earlier the Yankees are in Cleveland to play the Indians, and the pitching matchup was Luis Severino and Corey Kluber. And you say, wow, that's going to be a low-scoring game. They're both out of the game, and it's 6-4 New York. Jose Ramirez is at his 28th home run tonight.
He's unbelievable.
Double E, Edwin Encarnacion, he too has gone deep. He hit his 21st. Brett Gardner had a home run off Corey Kluber. Didi Gregorius as well hit a home run off Kluber. So those two aces got roughed up a bit tonight. Severino went 5 innings. Kluber goes 7 1/3.
Hey, I got to know what I've been wanting to get in tonight. Did you see that Colorado beat Arizona? I think it was 19-4 last night. And the Diamondbacks used a couple of guys who combined, position players, who combined to throw 4 2/3 innings in that game. As Grichuk lines went into center field, a base hit. Daniel Descalso and Alex Avila combined to throw 4 2/3 innings. It is the first time that a team has gotten that many outs in a game from position players since the Milwaukee Brewers in 1979 lost to the Kansas City Royals 18-8. Sal Bando pitched 3 innings in that game. Jim Gantner pitched the 8th, and Buck Martinez pitched the 9th.
I did.
Your one and only major league pitching appearance.
Yeah,
right?
I'd have been out of the inning if Sal would have turned a double play. That was it was a lot of fun, and it really was. Bando pitched 3 innings.
That's crazy.
George Bamberger, the manager, walked out to the mound and called Sal over from third. I think Paul Mitchell was pitching at the time, and he took Mitchell out of the game and he handed the ball to Sal. Well, when Sal came back for his 2nd inning work, he looked like a McDonald's French fry bag. He had grease all over him. He was doing everything to have some fun. And then Jim Gantner, he came in and just browbeat Bamberger into starting. He says, Bambi, I got to pitch now. Sal pitch, I want to pitch. And I did the same thing from the bullpen. I called down the dugout right away. I said, if those 2 guys are pitching in this game, I want to pitch in this game. Of course, it was in Kansas City where I played earlier. But then if you'll notice and look at the box score, I had an RBI base hit.
I did notice that.
As a pitcher.
Yeah. So you gave them one, but you got one back for your team.
Ray Fosse was catching, and I walked the leadoff man.
Buck, you know you can't do that.
Willie Wilson. I walked Willie Wilson.
Walked the fastest man in baseball.
Yeah.
But I looked at it today. He got forced at second.
Yeah.
And then the next guy got forced at second, but that was the one they should have turned the double play.
If I turned the double play, I'm out of the inning.
Yeah. Don't blame your fielders.
So because of that, I have a 9 ERA.
Yesterday, Alex Avila, a catcher, threw 2 innings for Arizona, gave up 1 hit, did not give up a run. He threw 13 pitches. 2 scoreless innings, and he only threw 13 pitches.
Well, you know, but he's been preaching that for years as a catcher, and then when you get a chance to pitch, you better back it up.
1-2 to Gurriel is sent foul out of play.
He's always told his pitcher, hey, throw it over. You know, this stuff is hard, and hitting is hard. So when he got a chance to pitch, he threw 13 pitches. And then, of course, the next day he said, see, it's not that tough.
Ask Kendrys Morales. He's been in there as a pitcher this year for the Blue Jays.
Who threw the other day for Cincinnati? Threw a knuckleball
against Cleveland.
Yeah,
right?
he threw really well.
Yeah.
They were raving about his knuckleball.
Throw down to first, and diving back in is Grichuk. It was Alex Blandino.
Exactly.
An infielder.
The great Blandino.
Yes. Dazzling the Indians with his knuckleball.
That's right.
Gurriel is 2 for 3 on the night. Doubled and scored on the Hernandez home run back in the first. He pops one into very shallow right center field. It'll be Bradley for out number 1. And now a look at Skyscraper, starring Dwayne Johnson.
Skyscraper, in theaters and Real D 3D July 13th.
Justin Smoak, the batter now with a 1-on-1 out. The Red Sox up 6-3 in the 8th inning. Smoak's 0 for 3 after coming in very hot in his last several games. We are back with you tomorrow night. Ryan Borucki on the mound for the Blue Jays, and right-hander Rick Porcello having a good year. 11-3, 358. Former Cy Young Award winner gets the start for the Red Sox, and it's not going to get any easier on Saturday. Eduardo Rodriguez, 11-3, 362. Red Sox have not announced a starter yet for Sunday. The Blue Jays won't face Chris Sale, though. Smoak now drives a ball to deep center. Bradley back yet again, and somebody reaches out. That ball's got to be in play, and it is. Rounding the bases and heading home is Grichuk, but they're going to send him back to third as that fan clearly reached out into the field of play to make the catch, and that's going to go as a double.
No, they can score this run.
They can send him home if they want.
Absolutely. Yep. Because you have to consider where the runner ends up had not there been fan interference. And the fan clearly reached over. Louis Rivera, the third base coach, talking to the third base umpire, Adrian Johnson. He's saying, yeah, you can score that guy. So now Alex Cora is coming out, and he's going to talk about it.
Well, did they allow Grichuk to score? It looks like they did.
Yeah, he has scored.
Originally, one of the umpires signaled back to third, I thought, but they've allowed him to score. So John Gibbons is happy right now, though now Gibby's coming out as Alex Cora has a conversation with the umpires. This is not like when a ball just bounces into the seats and then it's an automatic double. It's an automatic 2 bases. And now the 4 umpires are going to talk about this.
Now, you have to consider where the base runner would have ended up had not the fan interference occurred. And the ball was high off the wall. It was going to bounce on the warning track. And I believe they have ruled it correctly. And now, Brian Gorman, they're going to have a look at it on video. That's what they're going to do. They're going to see where the runners were when this ball was hit. Now, look at the fan leaning over. And he's going to make contact below the top of the fence. So there's no telling where that ball's going to bounce had it not been interfered with. Jackie Bradley Jr. was positioning himself for the bounce coming cleanly off the wall, but that wasn't the case. So now Adrian Johnson, who was the umpire at third, and crew chief Brian Gorman will take a look and ask New York to look at the base runners and where they were at the time the fan made contact with that baseball. The ruling on the field has been that they have allowed Grichuk to score on the Smoak double. Grichuk got a clean single to center to start the inning. And then after the out, Smoak drills another ball to center. How about the 3 balls that have been hit to center here tonight?
Yeah. So they are going to New York for some assistance here. Spectator interference. When there is spectator interference with any thrown or batted ball, the ball shall be dead at the moment of interference, and the umpire shall impose such penalties as in his opinion will nullify the act of interference. So basically saying they're going to do what they think would have happened had there not been any interference.
Well, with run out, the ball was so high. Grichuk was running full speed from first base. So he was headed clearly at least to third, and once it hits the ground, I mean, he knew it wasn't going to be caught. You could watch the outfielder and tell that. Second and home.
Yep,
they allow the run to score, so Grichuk comes in to score. Smoke is credited with an RBI double. That's his 48th double. And the Blue Jays get a run back. Now it's 6-4.
And given, as you said, how hard Grichuk was running, that he took off as soon as the ball was in the air, where he was, the speed he has, and they do take into account the speed of a runner on a play like that, it does seem like the right call was made. So the Blue Jays get a run on the RBI double. Suddenly it's 6-4. And here's Teoscar Hernandez as the tying run. And a fastball at 97 in for a strike.
Hernandez 0 for 3 against Barnes, and he had a pretty good pitch to hit it that first pitch.
He homered in the first, flied out in the fourth, struck out in the sixth. Down and away.
The Blue Jays have used Solarte off their bench as a pinch hitter in the seventh. They also have Curtis Granderson. And remember, you're going to see right-handers out of their bullpen from this point on. So Granderson could come into play.
One upstairs. Granderson looks like he's just getting loose just in case.
Yeah, DeMarlo Hale, the bench coach, he'll be the guy that'll give the players a heads up. You can see he's got his helmet in his hand, and Curtis is a veteran. He understands where they are in the lineup and what possibilities lie ahead.
Line to center field. Bradley's got to play it on a hop. Smoke had to make sure that ball would get down. He'll stop at third.
Yeah, he did, and he did the right thing. Bradley came in quickly as if he thought he had a chance to catch it. And then he put on the brakes and played it on a hop. Another hard hit ball off the bat of Hernandez. Smoke's got to make sure it's down safely before he moves toward third.
And now Daniel Levangie is out to the mound. And Granderson is running for Smoke at third base. Not the tying run. Now it's not the ninth inning, it's the eighth inning, but it's an interesting play. I thought we might see Granderson come up to hit for Russell Martin.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking too. I thought they might save him for a situation to drive in a run, but they're going to use him here as a pinch runner with one out. And you're right, he represents the fifth run, not the tying run. So Smoke continues to hit the ball very hard. He picks up an RBI double. Granderson takes over as a pinch runner at third. Now, Kendrys Morales. He homered his last time up.
You know, the other thing is you're taking Smoke's bat out of the lineup, too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you tie it up and then you play extra innings. And it's a curious move given that it's not the tying run.
First and third, just one out. 6-4, Kendrys Morales. Morales has homered in tonight's game. That was from the other side of the plate. That came off David Price when Morales was batting for the right side, his 11th on the season. No activity in the Boston bullpen. The inning belongs to Barnes, and he is laboring right now. And again, they sure appear to be without Kimbrel tonight, with Joe Kelly waiting in the wings for the ninth. A hot hitter at the plate in Morales. Waves at a breaking ball, 2-1. He was sitting fastball 2-0 and he didn't get it. Got another breaking ball.
That one was in the dirt. And Morales, he sold out through fastball and got the breaking ball. Left-handers have hit 240 against Barnes, but he's only given up 1 home run. That was to a right-handed hitter. Righties are hitting 100 against him before the 2 hits by Grichuk and Hernandez.
Big moment here, 2-2 on Morales. And you got a piece of yet another breaking ball from Matt Barnes. Blue Jays led 2-0, trailed 5-2. Got a run. Red Sox got one back. Blue Jays have gotten one here in the 8th inning, and they are still threatening. With the pinch runner Granderson at third, Hernandez at first, and Morales at the plate. 2-2 again. Got him on a pitch in the dirt. 2 down. Just wouldn't give in with a fastball.
Now I gave him that steady dose of breaking balls, and he finally gets the strikeout. Another hard breaking ball, a curveball bounced on home plate, but Morales with 2 strikes goes after it.
So it is up to Russell Martin. It was a breaking ball, slipped out of the hands of Barnes. You can see nothing on the face of Martin suggesting he thought there was any intent, because of course there wasn't. Martin's 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, Russell has hit a home run against Barnes. Remember, we talked about how tough he is against righties. Another breaking ball. He threw all his good ones to Morales.
I mean, at some point he's got to throw a fastball here, and that's what Russell's probably thinking here at 2-0. Martin has been a very patient hitter this year. It's no secret that he is struggling, hitting down to the 170s, but still taking close pitches, taking walks. How about that? Wouldn't throw him a fastball, even 2-0.
No. He's got a good fastball, but he doesn't want to get it into Martin. Russell has hit 5 home runs here at Fenway Park. Oh, he got a fastball. Tough spot up in the end, but he was looking for that fastball. Now you don't have the luxury of looking for a pitch. You just got to stay short, protect the plate.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Martin with 2 men on and 2 out here in a 2-run game in the 8th inning. Barnes the set. Got it. So the Blue Jays get 1 but strand a couple, and they're down 6-4 going to bottom 8. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Jamie Campbell and Cliff Floyd from the Samsung broadcast studio.
official team shop for the Blue Jays. You can visit them at the Toronto Eaton Centre location, Rogers Centre Gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk, or anytime at jaysshop.ca. Dan, if the Red Sox win and Price gets the win, that means Boston will have 4 starters with at least 10 wins before the All-Star break. Hasn't happened in more than 40 years.
All right, Arash, thank you. All kinds of changes for the Blue Jays. Let's start on the mound where Sean-Hwan Oh is now in here in the bottom of the 8th.
44th appearance, and he has really been throwing the ball well lately. His whip is just over 1. Look at the strikeouts per 9 innings. 10.55. Luke Maile back behind the plate, taking over defensively.
And it all started with Granderson pinch running for Smoke. Smoke out of the game. They need a first baseman. So Solarte's moved from third to first. Now they need a third baseman. So Russell Martin's moved from behind the plate to third, and Maile's come into the game to catch. And Granderson stayed in the game, and Teoscar Hernandez is out of the game. So they lost Smoke and Hernandez in that exchange.
Yeah, they're 2 best hitters, and it was really interesting because Smoke running at third was only the 5th run. He was not the tying run in that situation.
Blake Swihart leads off the bottom of the 8th.
This is the 3rd plate appearance for Swihart, who came in, took over for Steve Pearce at first base after Pearce left the game in the 2nd inning, because actually it was in the top of the 3rd inning. Pearce came out of the game. Boy, the Blue Jays have out hit the Red Sox 10-7.
Well, they're trailing where it matters the most. 6-4. Mookie Betts with a grand slam and 5 RBIs. The Red Sox try to extend a winning streak to 10 and get 37 games over 500 for the first time since 1946. And also trying to keep the Yankees at arm's length. New York up 7-4 in the 9th on Cleveland. The Yankees 3.5 back as play began tonight. And there's a base hit into right center for Swihart.
Better get it back in.
On his way to second, and in there with a double.
Swihart, very good athlete. He's a switch hitting catcher. Boy, he busted it out of the box as soon as he made contact. He'll pick up his 4th double of the season. But look at the hustle, a leadoff base hit. Now he's going to stretch it into a double. But that's what has always been appealing about Blake Swihart. He's a good offensive player. Hasn't had many opportunities here with the Red Sox, but with Vasquez on the DL, he's going to get a few more chances.
There's Xander Bogaerts. 1 for 3. Activity now with the Red Sox bullpen, and it is Kimbrel. So I guess it's Kelly, the guy who's unavailable tonight. Says he's good. Says he's ready. More velocity. Looks like nothing doing for Joe Kelly tonight.
Nope. He's chilling. You know, the Red Sox have done what the Blue Jays haven't been able to do, is they added on to that big 5-run inning. At fourth inning, they had 5 runs. They got that big insurance run.
Roller to short for Gurriel. The runner advances.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays, only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Fenway Park in Boston, with the Red Sox leading the Blue Jays 6-4 bottom 8. Runner at third, 1 out. And that'll, of course, force the infield in for the Blue Jays this late in the game. Brock Holt, a guy who can handle the bat and deliver in these kinds of situations. Doesn't try to do too much. Just trying to get that run in.
third base coach Carlos Fablis will get the sign, pass it on to the hitter, and then he'll verbally deliver it to the base runner at third. Should they put the squeeze on? He has a verbal sign, a hot sign, to let him know that the play is on.
And of course, the Blue Jays got a couple of guys out of position on the infield right now. They got Solarte at first, and they got Martin at third.
Now you can see Solarte playing deeper at first base, because if Brock Holt pulls it, likely be hit harder to first base than it would be to third. So he's got a chance to play a little bit deeper.
Well, he got nicked by that foul ball. 1-2 now, the count on Holt. Checking the bat to make sure it's still in one piece. A ball and 2 strikes on Holt. Seen a lot of time at second base with Dustin Pedroia out long term with that knee injury. Just a good, valuable guy. Swings from the left side, can play a number of positions, runs pretty well. Rips it foul.
Remember all of the curious moves that we saw, and we might now have found out the reason. Look at Smoke laboring between first and second as he hit that double off the wall, and then he kind of stretches out that hamstring, reaches back for the hamstring, so he may have been dealing with an injury, and that's what
that would explain it.
Led to all of those curious moves.
Yep.
Damn it.
And O gets Holt for the second out. So a good catch. I don't know if it was you or the guys in the truck. Whoever saw that. That's great. That's a good catch.
Well, and
that explains it. Yeah.
Oftentimes when you see moves that make you scratch your head, there's a reason behind them. And everybody down in the dugout, Smoke came off the field, obviously. Give the heads up to the dugout. Hey, Miami's bad. They had the pinch run Granderson. So that led the first of a domino effect that had moves all over the place. But anytime you see a move that makes you wonder, what's going on? There's something going on.
2 down. And Eduardo Nunez is the batter. So we'll try to get some kind of an update if the Blue Jays provide one. If not, I'm sure they will after the game.
Yeah, but you could see he reached up behind his hamstring and running from first to second felt something. Then he advanced to third, and once he got to third, that's when they made the move.
Late swing and a miss there by Nunez. Got beaten by that 92-mile-an-hour fastball. 0-2 as O tries to strand this runner at third and get the Blue Jays back up there with a 9. Down by only 2. The Blue Jays, with all the moves they've made as well, now out of necessity, as we find out, they're out of position player, out of bench players as well. Only came in with a 3-man bench, which a lot of teams have these days. Same with the Red Sox. And looking ahead to the 9th inning, they'll bring up Pilar, Travis, and Solarte, who are the 7, 8, 9 hitters right now. That's the spot Solarte is in after pinch hitting for Diaz. 2-2. Nunez upset. Thought he should have handled that one.
Got a breaking ball that was up a little bit, and ball he probably could have put in play. Oh, his command has been so good lately, and the break on his slider has been exceptional. Plus, he's ticked up in velocity with his fastball. But you remember that had visa issues in spring training and couldn't pitch in regular exhibition games for a while, so it took him a while to get up to speed, catch up with the rest of the relievers. But you can see when he's good, he's real good.
whistled foul down the line. And this park, maybe more than any other park in baseball, it's so good that they've extended the netting, because those seats that jut out down each line, you're so close to the plate and you're so close to the foul line, you just don't have time to react.
No, and I think they should extend the netting even higher to protect those fans. I think the one thing we've noticed throughout baseball is the netting really has not been an issue for as far as watching the game for the fans. And that's such a good job of incorporating very good netting that doesn't become an issue.
Full count on Nunez with a runner at third, 2 down, to the Red Sox up 6-4 in the bottom of the 8th. And the pitch. And they have fouled off so many 2-strike pitches tonight.
It's a good hitting club, and when they get the 2 strikes, they shorten up. And the foul balls have been all over this ballpark. And those are some souvenirs, and you know there's some kids under those nets going, man, I wish I had a ladder.
Yeah, that's right. Flare down the right field line. It is playable, and it's caught by Grichuk to end the bottom of the 8th. So last chance for the Blue Jays, coming up down by 2, heading to the 9th.
Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
9th inning here in Boston. Dan Shulman to Buck Martinez, Arash Madani. And here comes one of the best in the game in the 9th inning. Craig Kimbrell's on to try to close it for the Red Sox.
He's a hard-throwing guy that throws a fastball and a curveball. They're both hard. He has held opponents to a 147 opponent's batting average, but he's given up 5 home runs. He earned his 3rd inning plus save last night against Texas, as Dan mentioned earlier. He entered with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, and T.O. Atson walked the first batter to allow 1 run to come in, but then find the final 4. Mitch Moreland takes over defensively for Blake Swihart at first base.
Kevin Pillar, Devin Travis, and Yangervis Solarte coming up for the Blue Jays. And that breaking ball in for a strike. Pillar tonight is 0 for 3.
0 for 6 against Kimbrell. He does such a great job of using that curveball to steal a strike. Just flips it in there for strike 1.
And a ground ball down to third. Nunez snaps the throw across the diamond. 1 down. For a preview now of what's coming up tonight on Sportsnet Central, here are Ibaka and Jesse. All right, guys. Thanks. Looking forward to that. Yeah, that Kawhi Leonard story has certainly caught the attention of Raptor fans across the country. Blue Jays down by 2. Devin Travis, his first 3-hit game of the season tonight. And he's probably happy about that, but he'll be stewing about what was scored an error, kind of an unusual error, but it is scored an error as he took his foot off the bag before taking a throw from Gurriel. And that led to a big inning for the Red Sox. 5 runs, all unearned, scored in the bottom of the 4th, capped by the Mookie Betts grand slam. That's the difference in the game, obviously.
Devin has had 2 career 4-hit games. Looking for his 3rd. Had 1 in 16 against Tampa Bay and 1 in 17 against Cincinnati.
He's also 0 for 6 in his career against Kimbrel. He's 1 for 7, and there's a 4-hit game for him. And that'll get the tying run to the plate with 1 down here in the 9th inning.
His first 4-hit game since the 29th of May of 2017 at Rogers Center in a 17-2 win. He went 4 for 6 in that ball game. But it's important, obviously, in this 2-run game to get on base.
And the Blue Jays have a couple of guys with power coming up in Solarte with Grichuk on deck. 6-4, 1 on, 1 out. Solarte came on as a pinch hitter for Aledmus Diaz in the 7th inning. 0 for 2 in his career against Kimbrel, and he was taken all the way right there as Kimbrel bounced in a curveball.
Yeah, he tries to get ahead with that curveball. Solarte, like so many hitters that have faced Kimbrel, doesn't have a hit against him. He is 0 for 2. Lefties, they've only hit 172 against Kimbrel. Another breaking ball. Travis is going to move up.
It'll be a wild pitch charged to Kimbrel. A ball and a strike now. The count on Solarte. And if nothing else, that at least takes the double play out of order here. If Solarte were to hit a routine ground ball to somebody, the game would be over if Travis were still at first. But he's at second right now. But you can see Jan Hervis was sitting dead red right there, and he didn't get it. It's amazing to see so many guys with such good fastballs throwing so many breaking balls.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? If you locate your fastball and you throw as hard as Kimbrel, you could basically pitch with 1 pitch. But he has been very successful using that hard breaking ball, teaming it up with a great fastball.
1-1 the count on Solarte. And Kimbrel steps off.
We saw the same thing last night with Fulton-Avich down in Atlanta. He throws 99, and he kind of got in trouble using his slider.
Dylan Betances can get that way from time to time. 6-4 Red Sox, tying run at the plate for the Blue Jays here in the 9th inning. And a swing and a foul back. He got his fastball. 1-2.
98 miles an hour. And Solarte was looking for the fastball, got the fastball, but still couldn't square it up.
And the 1-2. And just fighting off that fastball just to try to get another pitch.
It's important to remember that Granderson is in the 3rd spot, batting where Smoke would have been, but Smoke left the game with an apparent leg injury, and then Luke Mailey's in the cleanup spot. Teoscar Hernandez out of the game as well.
Roller down to 3rd. Nunez has it, and Solarte's retired 2 down. Travis stays at 2nd, so it'll be up to Randal Grichuk. Grichuk tonight 1 for 4, had a base hit, scored a run his last time up. He's hitting in the leadoff spot for the Blue Jays tonight. Jays just 2-7 against the Red Sox so far this year, and they're not away from dropping to 2-8. The Yankees have won. It's a final in Cleveland. They beat the Indians 7-4.
And the Red Sox are on the verge of winning their last 6 games against the Blue Jays.
And extending their overall winning streak to 10, which would be the second longest winning streak in baseball this year. Houston had a 12-gamer in June.
Well, 2 of the best teams in baseball. There's no question about the Red Sox and the Astros. They both have terrific ball clubs.
1-0. And Grichuk lays off the high fastball. The appeal down to first. No swing. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, Randall Grichuk, there's no question about his power. He's got to be keyholing right here, making sure that if he gets a fastball, it's one he wants to hit.
Chased one well outside, just a little bit too over anxious, trying to tie this game with 1 swing. And you got to get it started so early against a guy like Kimbrel.
Yeah, and he just kind of guessed that it was going to be a strike. You know, Grichuk missed a lot of time this season with the knee injury, so this is just his 4th game against the Red Sox. Coming into this game, he was 0 for 5. He hadn't had many at-bats. Considering Blue Jays and Red Sox had played 9 times before this game tonight.
Leone, the catcher, out to the mound. Trip Gibson breaks it up. Looks like Grichuk's talking to himself. A little Crash Davis style conversation with himself at the plate right now about what he's looking for. It's going to be one of 2 things. The problem is they're both nasty pitches. Fastball fouled back, 2-2. And now the Blue Jays down to their final strike. Heady times in Boston right now. A win tonight for the Red Sox. They're 37 games over 500 for the first time since 1946. In the air to shallow right. And that's your ball game. Too much Mookie. If you're the Blue Jays tonight, Betts with a grand slam. He drives in 5. Kimbrel nails it down to the 9th, and the Red Sox take the opener of the series 6-4.
Yeah, this is an explosive offense, obviously, and now they won 10 in a row. But Mookie Betts had that extended at bat. 13 pitches.